This show is going to be a very important show. You will see that what I talk about now will matter tremendously, right? Tremendously. You're going to see that what I'm talking about today really matters for a very important reason. And that is because this is the first time since maybe the 90s, there was any chance of there actually being an actual political change here in our nation. First time that there's actually any chance of any type of independent party actually coming back. As I have told you, the time it happened before was the 1850s, 1860s. It was the Republican Party. And the Republican Party, of course, was at that point a third party. That's what it was. What made it happen? What really made it happen? It was two things. Number one, they actually had an issue, something big. And that issue was, believe it or not, abolition. Some people don't know that. The Republican Party was heavily put together because of abolition. The Whigs at the time, they were not about abolition. They were more Republican, but they were not they were not absolute on abolition. The Republicans were. That was their issue. That was a big issue. It was a huge issue that motivated lots of people to do things, work hard, to make things happen. And second, they had a personality. And that personality was Lincoln. They had several others too that were good, but they had a personality that was Lincoln. The Republican Party of those days had that. The Libertarian Party, sadly, has not had that for a while. The Green Party has that. I'd hoped that Gary Johnson would be our guy. Clearly, that was not true. He also did not have that issue. I think now we do. I think now an independent party may have those two things. They have multiple personalities, right? Tucker Carlson being one of them as a big one. Now, he may or may not run, but that's okay. You don't have to run, but he's a big part of the personality. They also have the MTGs and the Thomas Massies and the Joe Kents. These are all important people and good personalities, but Tucker is the big one. Tucker is the big one. That's the deal, right? And I think that just happened. What did Tucker just do? Tucker just talked about what he thought for America. That's what he did, you might think. Now, what Tucker actually just did, now this was not his words, but it's true, is he just created a 10-point platform for his new America First Party. I'm not making that up. That's what actually just happened. They just did that. They just made a 10-point platform for his new party. As I tell you, you can't just have a personality. You have to, but you also have to have issues and policies and all those things. That is a big deal. That is a big deal that they just came up with, and I just got finished watching it. 10 points. Fairness, sovereignty, productivity, beauty, health, honesty, optimism, wisdom, decency, and unity. That's the 10-point platform. I'm not making it up. That's what it actually is. So, and he goes through each one of the things he cares about, why he cares, about an hour and a half, talks about things like capitalism, wokeness, fairness, independence, farms and factories, safety and community, body and spirit. The government lying is okay, but you lying to the government's not. He attacks age and the baby boomers, pro-children, family, talks about the trades, self-sufficiency and farmers, talks about decency and kindness, broken education system, the broken tax code, anti-mass immigration, pro the English language, talks about what divides us, what used to unite us instead. Not a bad platform for people who want to do something different. Will it draw all the hardcore Republicans, Democrats? No, it will not. It won't. Hardcore Republicans, Democrats, still going to do it anyway. They're still going to, either way, they're going to stay. But the people who are pissed off, it gives them something they can chew on. It gives them something. And remember, I told you the biggest problem with the Democrats right now is there are a lot of pissed off Republicans. A lot of people upset at Trump, but it doesn't make them Democrats. The Democrats have to provide something for the Republicans that they can actually accept. And the socialism, communism stuff is not, they're not going to accept it. As I said, you go back about 20, 30 years, Clinton gave Republicans something they could accept. They're like, you know what, Democrat, but I can accept that. Reagan gave something Democrats could accept. right? He's a Republican, but all right, I can give it, right? Those two guys were able to give the opposite something they could chew on and go, yeah, I can handle that. Democrats, they aren't doing that. So as Democrats as Republican voters are mad and pissed off at what's happening, they got no place to go. This becomes a possibility. Maybe they can go there. Democrats who don't like the socialism, they're not going to become Republicans. They're going to vote for Trump. They hate Trump. Half of them got TDS. Where's Carville going to go, right? Where's all of those guys going to go? They ain't going to vote for the Mamdanis, but they can't go to Trump. This gives them a possibility they can go there. And how do I know that? Look at where all the people are going. What he has, more than anything, is surrogates. What the other guys never had. Surrogates. MTG will go on any show, anywhere, anytime. Massie, any show, anywhere, and Massie crosses over. Yet so does Joe Kent. These guys are on the Young Turks and Tucker Carlson. Doesn't matter where they are, they go everywhere, right? They're on Tim Pool or they're on, Daily Wire. Doesn't matter. They can go anywhere. This is what they didn't have before. Any of you who sit there and go, this is never going to happen, you are fooling yourself. This is an actual shot where they may make some impact. Now, to be clear, impact. Impact does not mean they're going to win a presidency. I'm not saying that. Could happen? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, whatever. I wouldn't bet on that, but maybe. But will they make impact? Will you see this? Yes. This will be better than Forward, better than what's that other one they did? No Labels, whatever. This will be something different because what they didn't have, all Forward had was Yang. That's it. Yang. I like Yang. That's all they had. Yang's not bad. That's all they had, right? You gotta have more than Yang. No Labels had nobody. The best they had was kind of Manchin, kinda-ish. That was it. These guys got 4 people who know how to work social media, which is what has to happen to make this thing move. That is the key. That's why this will be different. And they're going on all the shows with people who are both heavy hitters, old school, and not heavy hitter, old schools, all of those. That piece is a big difference. So I'm going to show you a couple things if I could. Guys, I'm happy you guys gave me a little bit of time. I appreciate it. Make sure, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, click the button known as like. Let people know this one's going on. This matters. I'm going to give you a lot of good stuff tonight. We may be here for a while, but it will be worth it. Totally worth it. You will be going back. We'll be clipping this show. Like, damn, Larry was right. Damn, Larry was right. Damn, Larry was right. You're going to see that happen. This is the show for that one. So make sure you're watching it. Make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't, I don't know why you love the establishment. Make sure you're sharing this right now. If you don't share it, people aren't going to know it's on. I can't grow. More importantly than anything, for those of you who remember back in the RFK Jr. days, one of the reasons why I was able to jump so hard into the Maha world was because when RFK Jr. was running independent, I was the guy in the media explaining how this works. And people were like, holy crap, that's how it works. Yes, the stuff I said, now other people are saying. Yes, other people are saying. Some of you who've been playing with Ballot Access, you are going to love some of the things they're saying. And of course, make sure you subscribe. It does matter. So please do that. But no matter what, click the button known as like. It really does matter. I can't tell you how important it is. Please do it. All right. Let me see here if I can grab this piece if I could. This is establishment of establishment. This is Joe Manchin, Mr. Establishment. He was talking about it, just to make sure we're clear. This was Mr. Establishment.
Now by former West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin and his daughter Heather Manchin. They're the heads of a new effort which aims to elect independent candidates to public office. It's good.
Yes, what does he mean? He means he's starting PACs. So now we got PACs. We got PACs now, finally. Real PACs, not the fake ones that are really just Republicans, Democrats. We have real ones, and he brings this up.
To have you both here.
Good to be with you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about this, Senator. Let's start with you. There's a market for what you're selling.
Now, the piece I'm going to bring up here, which is brilliant.
47.
Yes, CNN saying, look, this is the time. CNN is saying it, right? Face the Nation saying it. So mainstream media is finally going, you know what? This might be real. That's happening right now. Second piece, here's that matters. It isn't just Manchin. He brought his daughter in. You might say, why? Why does that matter, Larry? Because Manchin's older, being very forward. While Manchin doing this, what he's saying is this is lasting longer. I'm bringing in my daughter. I obviously trust his daughter. I trust mine. I bring mine too. I understand that completely. Trump trusts his daughter. It's a daddy-daughter thing, I guess. I don't know. But he trusts his daughter. He's bringing his daughter in. So it isn't just him. He's now hanging off to her so she can run with this, right? This is going to be her thing for decades. This minor thing matters.
7% of American adults identified as political independents. That's the highest level in a decade. But over time, we have seen these attempts to break through the two-party system.
Yep, and you will see people just take a big steaming dump on it constantly. And usually they're right.
Just haven't really panned out. So what do you think is going to happen with that 47% now?
Well, everyone depends on the independents to get elected now. That's all you hear. All the polls are taken.
To swing one way or the other.
This is, in the last presidential election, it came down to 7 battleground states.
This is what I've been saying for years. This is why Trump, sadly for him, when he built the coalition in 2024, I don't know how many times I said it. I'm going to keep saying it. It was brilliant. It was the right answer. And then he said, to hell with those guys. And he's thrown the independents away. Silly. He had them in his pocket and he threw them away. I'm the one who said all day long, it is time to make sure you keep them, come back home, fix your coalition. He didn't. And now Manchin's going to get him. That's your fault, Trump. You had him.
Means 43 were predetermined.
Yes.
435 congressional seats, 395 are predetermined. There's no competition whatsoever in the system because the strength of the two-party system, the Democrat and Republican, prevents that from happening. They have total control of how the primaries are put up. Put up. And when I said this, if you look at the last election,
I've been talking about primaries forever, haven't I? I feel so vindicated. That finally on Faith the Nation, they should have had me on because I'm better looking than Manchin. But that's fine. That's fine. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. Manchin is saying what I've been saying for years, the primary system, how it doesn't work. For those of you who watch Tucker Carlson, one of the first things he said is the system doesn't work. The two-party system is his words at the end. He said it is the establishment, Democrats, Republicans, that keep us from being united. He said that they're the thing that keep us from being united.
Of all the primaries across the country, only about 21% of the people showed up. 21%, the lowest ever. So they're controlling it. And guess what? MAGA's taken over the Republican, and now you have the DSA seems to be having a lot of energy on the Democrat.
You see it everywhere. Absolutely. I know the Republicans threw me out of the primary. The people wanted me. Savvy top people didn't.
Democrat side. What happened to the people that live their lives in the middle, that make decisions, that make things work in America? They got nobody speaking for them.
What do you think? They stay home?
They just, I think they do give up. They just said this doesn't matter because of.
This is what I've been saying. People aren't going to be showing up. Who's motivated to show up? Who's motivated to show up right now? Yeah, DSA. The Democrats are motivated to show up. You see it. The Democrats, the DSA specific, are motivated. That's why that's why the guy won in Michigan. They are motivated to show up. The rest, what I've been saying, they just decide, whatever, I don't care. Why bother? Because they're usually right.
Have control. They're going to do what they want to do. There's no openness at all. If you're an independent, try to get on the ballot.
Yeah, what he just said? You're an independent trying to. I know.
They make you jump through every hoop in the world, go out and get thousands of signatures.
Yes, they do.
If you're a Democrat or Republican, you want to run, you pay a fee. You pay a fee, just get on the ballot. That's it.
That's it. I cannot tell you how good that makes me feel to hear on a mainstream, on a mainstream station. Most people never even hear that. The battles I fight, no one even sees. The wars I fight, nobody even sees. Finally, someone's talking about it.
But they make it almost impossible for anyone else to compete against them.
You know who says it's a rigged system? Bernie Sanders. He's an independent.
Bernie's a socialist now, and I respect Bernie. I respect where he's coming from.
Yeah, but he had to insult him first. You Republicans, stop with the insults. You're acting like Democrats. Just stop. That doesn't mean people don't love him. Stop.
Bernie's always been who he is, but he's had to use the Democratic Party to get on the ticket.
Yeah,
he took that path. We're saying, be an independent, be a pure independent, run as an independent. Come to Washington.
Yes, run as an independent. What I've been saying. Yes. Yes.
Do not caucus with either side. Be an independent. I'll guarantee you, maybe you're going to make a difference of how they make their decisions, because they're going to need you. They need you to get elected. They're going to need you to also.
Yes, literally what I said about RFK Jr. He ran as an independent. That's the only reason why it's HHS. If he had run in the rigged system, he'd have been forgotten about. He'd have run as a Democrat or Republican, whatever. He'd have lost, and that would have been the end. He'd have been over. He ran as independent. Running independent, they said, okay, I want it. Manchin is correct. He's absolutely correct. Mike says he's no Republican. Doesn't make him wrong. Doesn't make him wrong. Phil says, Missy, I'm glad you're here as a West Virginia expert. True. Yes. She is our expert today.
To make law.
Heather, is there anyone in Congress right now who you think is truly an independent? Because there are only 3 with an I next to their name.
Yep.
No, and as
Do you see how she's just so dismissive of it? Now you're in theory, she's a journalist. I mean, she's not. But in theory, she'd be asking questions. How are you going to get past this? It's difficult. It's hard. Filling in with $2. Larry arrives precisely when he intends. True. I do have the magic powers. I am that powerful. Accurate statement. Yes.
Dad pointed out, they're caucusing with one side or the other. So,
Yep.
you know, I think we have seen, and I just in stories today, that the parties have literally sucked out any independent thinking, any political courage. And so,
Yes.
unfortunately,
Yes, they've sucked out any political courage. You can't go against people or they destroy you. Correct. Correct. A la, I don't know, Thomas Massie. Yes. Terry, primaries are a joke. It's predetermined before the first ballot's drafted. Absolutely, yes. Accurate statement. D says, I remember when the GOP loved Manchin because he went against Dems. Then a GOP go against Massie because he won't drop Trump's pants and vote with the party. Yes. True. Absolutely true. Lunatic says, to be a realist, we have war all over the world. People are trying to bring formation, biblical stories, alien historical stories falling apart, the American system becoming constricted. True. Also accurate. I'm trying to fix it. I hope you see that. I'm trying to fix it. D says no party affiliated. There are a lot of people who are no party affiliated. Absolutely true. More and more of them.
we believe that perhaps all of that gives an opportunity to say, can we get someone elected outside the two-party system and go to Congress and stay independent?
Note what they're talking about. They are not talking about presidency, which is smart. You should talk about presidency. You do need to have a presidential candidate so that people will see you as legitimate. This is one of the reasons why the Libertarians were trying to always have a presidential candidate. It doesn't mean that that guy or gal is going to win, but it shows legitimacy so that when they see someone else on ticket, you can actually get someone to win at a local election or a Congress or a mayor or whatever is the thing locally. So there's legitimacy in a presidential run, even if you're not going to win. I hope you win, obviously. So yes. Andrew, thank you for the $5. If two parties keep failing us, why keep giving them a monopoly? Third parties give voters real choices and force the system to compete because they run the system and don't care what you think, Andrea. And it takes someone of social status to make it happen. I wish it was someone who was just had the answers. I'd be president of the United States by now. It doesn't. No one cares what I think. Well, that's not true. Not enough people care. That's better. Not enough people care what I think. I have to have the votes, or I have to have the views, or I have to have the whatever for people to validate and say, oh, Larry Sharpe is correct. Larry Sharpe's only correct when enough people decide that I'm correct. So that's how it works. Now, people watch Tucker. Lots of them do. People still watch Massie. People voted for Massie. That makes them more legitimate. Whether you liked it or not, I wish I was more legitimate. It is the way it is. Let's get these people who are more legitimate in people's eyes to say the right thing so people can hear them. So I agree. Yes. All right. Phil says this actually has some ideas and principles and some people who may have been the political ringer. Yes. Thank you. HVAC says, if the Republicans win, wife beatings are legalized, divorce be outlawed, and homosexual transgender will be lobotomized. Democratic Party. Yep. Fear, 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 and fear. Yes. All fear. Adirondack says, I just noticed I'm wearing a Larry Sharpe for Governor of New York shirt. I'm very sharp dressed tonight. True. That is a good idea. I like that. All right, let me keep going down here.
that really to have that independent thinking and bring some negotiation conversation to the bills that unfortunately it's a party line vote. It doesn't matter what could be negotiated to get anything done. It's a stalemate and everyone
Yes.
picking a side.
So for you to back a certain candidate, you are not requiring any kind of policy platform. You would support anyone.
Right. Well,
If they show independence?
we actually put a Declaration of Independence together that asked for
Yeah. See, this is not a party. This is a PAC or an institution, which is amazing. This isn't the party. This is the idea of we're going to start supporting independent. I love this idea.
3 things that you're for: opening competition, opening primaries, things that would restore competition
This is actually what Andrew Yang was trying to start with forward, but didn't get done. This is what Andrew Yang was talking about, but couldn't get done.
to the system, not the gerrymandering of districts and so forth.
Yep.
To be for solutions, that you want to work with anyone. You want to take good ideas from both sides of the aisle and make something happen and get done. And the
Yep.
last one is accountability, that you'll explain your vote. Just simply explain your vote when you take it and why you took it. And we
That's literally what Justin Amash and Thomas Massie do all the time. This is the Justin Amash, Thomas Massie party.
think that's pretty low table stakes.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. There's only one pure independent that basically ran as an independent, governed as an independent as governor, and that's Angus King.
Yeah.
But there's no support. When Angus comes there, he has to pick, well, he picked the Democrat side because there was more things that he believed in that would be good for Maine. So we worked together. But Angus, if he had a little bit more support,
Thank you.
He's as
More
independent
support.
as it becomes. You can work with him on any issue. We just found that there's no structured support for somebody just remaining independent. Can you imagine if they don't caucus with either?
No support structure. I've seen that again and again and again. He is saying everything that I have been feeling forever. Oh my God, forever.
One? What's going to happen?
They wouldn't get any committee positions.
Is the committee doing anything anyway? No.
You
Yeah,
liked
true.
your committee position.
I
when
like
you
my
had them,
committee
Senator.
position, but
Allowed you to do it a lot for West Virginia.
yeah, but the bottom line is that bills didn't come to the floor. We passed things in a bipartisan way, and it was always
Yep.
controlled by the majority leader.
Mhm.
But they're going to have to vote. They can't deny them the vote. And I'll guarantee you, they can go to any committee meeting they want to. And there's going to be times when they say, boy, if you would just caucus with us today, we'd get this
Yep.
passed or that.
Right.
They can moderate an awful lot. We think
And that's what his point. His point is if you don't always caucus with somebody and you're an actual independent, you can decide on any given issue to caucus with someone on that issue. So you're pro Second Amendment. You could, in theory, I mean, the Republicans not really pro, but in theory, you could caucus with Republicans on that issue, right? You want to legalize cannabis. You could caucus with Republicans on Democrat. I mean, they don't want to either, but in theory, at least, if any of them want to get anything done, in theory, you could do so.
it's a way to start bringing the parties. I believe the Republican Party wants to be the grand old party again, and I believe GOP, but I believe the Democrats would like to be responsible. They've got nowhere to go, and they've been pulled to the left and the right. Something's got
not
to
wrong.
change. They open the primaries up. Let's
Right.
have competition. But now what we can do is get a couple people elected that can sit there and say, listen, this doesn't make any sense at all.
Yep.
It's not the oath I took to defend and protect the Constitution. It doesn't make sense for my country, and it's not a way to get things done for my state. We give them the support once they get there, and we'll change things.
Heather, could you ever support a self-described socialist candidate?
Of course, they have to attack the socialists. Why? Don't attack the. If you're going to be an independent candidate, don't attack the socialist. It's fine. Don't attack them.
No.
No way. My God.
No way, God.
And
Even
it
if they have some
surprises-
good ideas?
Oh,
and
the
it's
good. I support the good ideas, but how could you support some of the crazy stuff they're for? Have you seen their platform? They're for just dismantling everything that we know,
The
whether it be
TSA, you mean.
whether it be the structure of government.
D says, I replied in a post on X when I saw the Tucker thing going around. My comment was, I guess they better start talking to Larry Sharpe if they want ballot access in New York. Yes. Yes. You want to get on a ballot? This is literally that meme for those of you who remember the Road Warrior, right? Remember the Road Warrior? For those of you who remember that the Wisdom of Humongous, right? At one point, he's sitting there inside, and they want to go get this big rig so they can get all the oil out. And basically, Mel Gibson says, you want to get that big rig? You got to talk to me. Well, I am, in this case, Mel Gibson. that good or bad? I don't know. But in this case, I am. I want to be him and a patriot. That was good. I want to be him in that one. Maybe not the other ones, but that one I want to be him. You want to get ballot access? Talk to me. That's it. That is the appropriate response.
Congress itself or the Senate they want to get rid of. And then they start talking about all the crazy things. No police, no this, no this, no that. Are you crazy?
Okay, why are you even talking about that stuff? Stop. Just be independent. Stop being a Republican. Just stop. It's not required. This is the point. This is why they keep screwing up. They go back to being what they are. Stop. You don't got to beat up on, it's not required. I get you don't like it, but you can just not talk about it. Becky says, hi, Sharpies. I've been listening and seeing some of your silliness. You're such a lovely group of people. She is trying to bait you. Face the Nation woman is trying to bait you, and you took the bait. Don't take the bait. This is why, for any of you running independent, for those of you, if any of you know anyone in that world, the Tuckers, the MTGs, any of those, when you just surrogate in the media, not him, surrogate in the media, you talk to me. I don't fall for that.
We want a crime-free area. We have to have police for that.
Yeah.
We want a strong defense. We want a strong border. But if Democrats can't say that, and they start lining up with the socialist demands of what you are to be a socialist, energy will be gone. There'll be no energy.
Oh,
okay?
Jesus.
We
stop.
have right now a tremendous amount of energy we're producing, and the world depends more on us than ever before.
So this is the problem. He fell for this. You're talking about independent parties. Keep talking about independence. I gotta yell about, stop. Every show is Mamdani good, Mamdani bad. Don't give him any more. You can stop already. You're not harming him. You're making him more powerful. Stop already.
But
We can do more.
I'm sorry, doesn't it surprise you that even leadership in the Democrat Party can't just say no? They can't say no?
Now, that's smart. All right, Heather. Thank you. She's a co-founder of the Independent Leadership Council. Thank you very much. That's right. Don't say, socialist bet, stop giving Mamdani power, and instead say, why can't leadership tell him no? That is a smart move. Well done.
Well, they're seeing an appeal, apparently.
But it
An appeal
shows you
to the
that,
far left.
but
Thank you, Josh.
control has now completely outweighed character. If you're more interested,
Control has outweighed character. Thank you, my dear. That's what you got to say. Hey, Joe Manchin, move away. Let your daughter take this. She got this one. You could just, you go back on your boat. Your girl got this. Let her take it.
And that's all that it matters, your vote count versus the character of the
She
person
got it.
and what the platform they're running on. I think we're living with the consequences of that.
Margaret,
There
the
we
Democrat
go.
Party's lost more registration, more people identifying as Democrats than ever before. So if that was going to be the case, what would be the hope? Right now you have high polls, right?
Yeah.
Democrats should be 20, 30 points ahead if that's where the country's going.
And this is the point that Manchin's correct. This is my point I've been bringing up. Just because people are mad at Republicans doesn't make them Democrats. People are leaving the Democratic Party doesn't make them Republicans, right? For most of them, they're going to check out. For half of them, they're going to hold their nose and vote the same way anyway. Half the people who are mad at Trump right now are going to hold their nose and vote for whoever the Republican is anyway. And half the Democrats who are mad at Mamdani or whatever are going to hold their nose and vote Democrat anyway. Half of them. But a bunch aren't going to show up. And that's the issue. A bunch are not. Phil, thank you for the gift of membership, my friend. Andrea, thank you again for the gift of membership. Yes, guys, thank you so much. Remember, our member show is coming up here soon. Members show is coming Friday, August 14th, about 9 days from now. Members will be on the show. So I'll have 3 of you with me talking about trash, a lot of cool trash. And I will also have you guys for the members only show at 8 o'clock right afterwards, which only members can view. So members on the show, everyone can view. And then afterwards, the members only show. So thank you for the memberships. They will be there too. And remember, this Saturday, Rumble only show, the one and only Lunatic Libertarian and I together will be rocking and rolling on that day, 7 p.m. this Saturday on Rumble only. So if you want to come over to Rumble and watch me and Lunatic go nuts, we will. So enjoy. You can come enjoy if you would like.
They're not. They're still behind. The bottom line is we're not getting anything accomplished because the two-party system has drowned out everything. They have just choked.
And I want to be very clear. This is Face the Nation. You've heard me say this before. Whatever, this is Face the Nation. This is literally someone who is part of the establishment. Missy knows him more than anybody. This guy is part of the establishment. He is saying it. That's why it matters.
Well, when you were talking about why you did not run in 2024 for president, you said you didn't want to be a spoiler.
I couldn't get on all 50 ballots.
Couldn't get on all 50 ballots. Who has been talking about the validity of getting on all 50 ballots? Oh, wait, me, for the past 8 years. Yes, correct. I wanted to make sure you all heard that. Everything I've been talking about for years is finally coming to fruition.
Ballots and I have a platform, I can speak.
Literally, Jesse Ventura said the same thing. When the Greens wanted him to run, I think it was 2020, I think it was 2024. I forgot which one. I think it was both. The Greens wanted Jesse Ventura to run for president. They wanted him to. And he said, yeah, 100%, get 50 state ballot access. They went, he said, and I ain't running. If any independent party wants to be real in America, they must have 50 state ballot access. You go, Larry, it doesn't matter. You're fooling yourself. It's not how the world works. If you don't have 50 state ballot access, the nation does not take you seriously. Period. They don't. It's how it works. I hate saying this, but it's true. Ballot access is more important than anything when it comes to running candidates. If you want to run a candidate, ballot access is everything. Nothing is more important. We'll do local. Your local shit means nothing if you want to run candidates. Now, there's the key. Some people don't care about running candidates. No worries. You don't care about ballot access. If you care about running candidates, there is nothing more important than ballot access. And I care about running candidates because candidates, if they get enough votes, people listen to them. You can move people if you are a candidate that people will listen to. That is why it cares. Another gift of membership. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jones. And Phil says, New York, if you make it here, you make it anywhere. True. Which is why I'm trying to make it here. Yes, absolutely. I want you guys to hear that
I have
part.
no chance of winning because I'm only on 16 ballots or 20 ballots statewide, nationwide.
So it's really ballot access
It's ballot
versus
access.
polling support.
That's exactly
that would have-
right.
Yes, it's ballot access. That is exactly right. Yes, it is. I am vindicated.
benefited
I would have
from.
loved to have been able to sit and say, come on, Donald, do you really believe that? Is that true? Or Joe or Kamala or whatever. We had so many differences. But there's a way to basically, people just want some normality.
Yep.
The chaos is just running people's lives today. And when you look back in West Virginia and all other rural areas, I mean, the cost of living, the cost of groceries, the cost of doing everything, the energy, how you live your life is too high.
I mean, who are you getting financial support from?
Okay,
You have a
here we
background
go.
in the business community. Do you want more sort of small dollar donations? Like, how do you counter
But
some of
no,
these
you're right.
influences?
It's David and Goliath story.
Yes. How hard it is for me to raise money. How hard it is for me to raise money. This little Face the Nation piece made me feel good. It did. It validated all the shit that I go through for the past 8 years and why no one else does this. You might say to yourself, Larry, why are you the only guy doing it? She's telling you why. He's telling you why. This is why. It's David against Goliath. It's the system against you. And all you get is that. And anyone who's not, anyone who is independent and you can't magically make shit happen, insults you and calls you a grifter and calls you bad names and makes you feel bad and does all kind of horrible things. And so people quit. I don't because I'm an asshole, but that's okay.
Story for sure, but we think being strategic, we're not trying to get behind 20, 30 candidates. We're getting behind a handful, a few in Congress. If we could get 2 or 3 elected, think of what the difference that independent.
That is a smart move. A couple of, this is doable, right? This is doable. It can be done.
block can make 1 or 2 in the Senate. So we've seen tremendous support actually. We'd like there to be more. I think the business community needs to lean in and
that's the key, the business community. Because the Republican Party has become Mr. Tariffs now with Trump and all his tariffs. Business community hates that. Democratic Party is about taking everybody's property. They hate that too. You're a business owner, where are you going to go? Who are you going to go if you're a business owner? Republicans want to tariff you. Democrats want to take your shit. What's your answer? I know a guy named Larry Sharpe. I know that. Missy says, Manchin can be this human being when he wants to be. When he's not trying to get power. Yes, I would agree. Yes. 100%.
Not try to put their head in the sand and say, well, we hope this passes.
Yeah.
We need people to get engaged and participate. And
Okay.
There we go. Missy says, when Manchin was governor of West Virginia, we had one of the worst coal mining accidents ever, and he handled it with so much compassion. I was all about him then. I was them too. Yeah. I don't know what, Manchin about his politics very much, but I do know he probably cares about West Virginia. He still lives there, has been there his whole life. I'm sure he loves the state.
think it's going to be great for the country.
Thank you for sharing the initiative with both of us. We'll track how it does.
There we go. Robin says, I love the Road Warrior. I had to pick up a name, Road Warrior. Yep. I actually saw it in the movies, believe it or not. I saw Road Warrior in the movies in 1981, 82. Forgot. Something like that. I saw it in the movies. I was a baby. Yes, that's actually true. That I did see that. All right, so I brought that one because I thought you guys would enjoy that. But there's another one. This now is Young Turks. As I told you, the thing that's amazing about this is that people will go on any of them, right? People will go on all these different shows. And this matters because remember, the time of, as I mentioned the other day, the time of statesmen, those days are over. This is now about celebrity. Celebrity is what matters more than anything. Let me see if I can get this right here. This is showing. Did I get it right? There we go. Yes. All right.
Over the weekend, and you were in this picture. It was at Tucker Carlson's home.
Mm-hmm.
You're in there with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massie, Tucker. What was this? There is word that you're all planning, as Marjorie Taylor Greene put it, a new political movement. Could this involve establishing a new party?
Now look who's there. Could this be establishing a new party? Joe Kent's there. Yes, he is. Maggie says it. Yes, we need an alternative to the two-party system. 100%. Yes, we do. Absolutely. Mike says Manchin isn't Republican. Oh, okay. I don't think he calls himself that. Does he call himself Republican? I don't think he does. Opposing eliminating prisons is a basic reality, not a right issue. Opposing eliminating prisons is a basic. I guess. Does he call? I think he called him. He was Democrat. Was he ever Republican? He was Democrat, wasn't he? He was Democrat and independent. I don't think he ever was Republican. I don't remember him being one. I don't know why. Mike, why do you think he's a Republican? I don't remember him ever being a Republican. I mean, unless I missed something, I don't remember him ever being a Republican.
So that was yesterday. Today we're back together again on the Young Turks instead of Piers Morgan. So Joe, tell us, could it potentially be a new third party?
Oh, yes. Now we asked the question directly. Maggie says, you're right. Stop the attacks on socialists. Doesn't help. Exactly. Doesn't help. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Bobby knows how to handle these media witches. He outflanked Dana Bash beautifully. Yeah, he's pretty good. He learned from me, though, too. So, yes.
It certainly could. I mean, when I got together with Tucker, with Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, as we were just kind of comparing notes, most of us came to the conclusion that most Americans that we talk to, they're sick of the Republicans. They're sick of the Democrats. Now, most of us, have been in Trump world for quite some time. All of us kind of had our own, break, to put it politely, with the Trump administration. And even a lot of like hardcore Trump supporters right now, they feel very betrayed. I mean, one of the core tenets of President Trump's agenda was no more endless wars. We felt, I became a Trump supporter in 2016 when Trump went after Jeb Bush on the debate stage because I served.
A lot of people, Trump was the rebel. There's no doubt he was. Absolutely. Maggie says, I'm Margaret. I agree with almost everything Tucker said tonight. I want to be part of his independent movement. Massie and MTG are doing great work. A lot of people saw that, Maggie. I did too. I watched the whole thing. I watched the entire thing. 10-point plan, which really is, he didn't say it, but it's the platform for his new party. That's what it is. I'll go through all of those platforms. But tomorrow on the show, I'll go through every part of it so we can see it. But it was amazing. It was very well done. Brilliant work. There'll be holes to it, of course. There are holes to it. And it is a more right-leaning platform than left-leaning for sure. It absolutely is. However, at least it does show it was an actual, at least for his mind, I would say for sure, it was a real America first agenda. I would think that part is true, but it was a more right-leaning agenda. If you're more left-leaning, you're going to probably move more towards a Mamdani type. If someone's more left-leaning, It is that. However, he had some left-leaning stuff. He did. So it wasn't just right-leaning at all. It was right-leaning, but it wasn't all
fought in
right.
Iraq, lost lots of friends there. We have all come to our own conclusions that, look, this is not working. And the confines of the traditional Republican Party, the traditional Democrat Party, most people are just sick of that. And so we do think that there is, I would say from, a lot of your viewers, from people who find themselves, more on the left, people who find themselves more on the right, we don't think the current political system is working just because of the results on the ground.
And there's the piece that I think might work, because there are so many people who are unhappy with their own party. If this is enough, and there's the goal, you've heard me say this before, I go back to the 80s and the 90s. In the 80s, Reagan, being a Republican, gave the Democrats something they could accept, even though they were Democrats, and they voted for him. Clinton gave Republicans something they could accept as a Democrat, and they voted for him. Since that, we haven't really had that. If this is something that people can go, you know what? It's not really what, but it's not, at least it's not this. It's people are mad at Trump and people are mad at Mamdani. So I'm mad at Trump. I could vote for this. Okay. Or I'm mad at Mamdani. I could vote for this. If that happens, and I think this is good enough, they're going to get a lot of votes. They're going to get a lot of votes, and they can win stuff. They can win stuff. Robin says, Lara, you've got the cheapest old broad in Montana who can't even vote for you, supporting you, because you convinced me that helping you would help this country in the long haul. Thank you. Yes, thank you. John says, then Senator Joe Manchin was the final vote that passed Obamacare. Democrats promised him they would pass stuff to help create jobs in Virginia. They got his vote and forgot his promises. Well, yep, and that's why he walked away from him. So, yeah. He is conservative. He's a conservative Democrat, right? Again, so that's why there's like the socialism piece. He's a conservative Democrat. He's still a Democrat, but he's a conservative Democrat. He's like a Republicrat. He's kind of like that.
No matter who we vote for, we get another war in the Middle East. No matter who we vote for, AIPAC and these major donors, most of whom most Americans don't.
He said the word. He said the word. That is going to be a big freaking deal. And that right there will get Democrats to vote for you. You can like that or hate that. It is absolutely true. That right there will get Democrats to vote for you. That is true. So, yes. All righty, let me keep going.
Even know they dictate the policy that sends our best young men and women off to go fight and die in foreign battlefields. They make our taxes go up, and then they give us nothing back in return but more debt and more wars. And so I do think,
so no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain.
There is a growing hunger in this country to have a very basic and very simple agenda that says that we're not going to get involved in more foreign wars. We're not going to let foreign lobbies dictate our foreign policy.
Yep.
And we're going to address the needs of the American people. So
that's literally what Tucker Carlson said today. That's what he said today. Yes. Josh says, I think the majority of people in this country want a third choice. 100% true. Yes. D says, as someone who sits in the back and logs these calls, they are brutal. It's not as bad as cold calling, but it's not fun. I know asking for money is hard. Yes, absolutely. It is not easy. So, yeah.
That was the gist of what we were discussing there. Now, how that's going to look in the future, there's a lot more nuts and bolts work that needs to be done there because, as I think you understand.
He says, oh, Lord is going to torture us with Cenk. Cenk is important. You may think he's not. Cenk is important. Why? While Cenk has lost a lot in the past and he's had to move to do other things about making cash and such, Cenk's audience is actually open to going independent. A lot of audiences aren't. They're just not gonna. There's no way. You look at like Sam Cedar. His audience is never gonna vote independent. Never gonna vote anywhere near Thomas Massie. Never gonna do it. And it doesn't matter what happens. They're just gonna yell and call them names. Brown Jug Ray's audience never gonna do it. Right? These guys, they're never gonna do it ever in a million years. Cenk's audience, some of them will. So he is important. Some of them will. Cenk is the kind of guy who'll go to Freedom Fest. I was on TV with Cenk on News Nation. Yes, he is valuable for this reason, because he'll have Joe Kent on and not just insult him. Look what it says. Kent explains what he, Tucker, MTG, and Massie are planning. Yes, that's why it matters.
Running as a third-party candidate is challenging, not impossible, but it is very challenging. But that's kind of the consensus that we came to, that the current system just simply doesn't work, and we have to find something new.
And that's the piece. They're finally starting to get. They're having the conversations that are saying, this is hard. Oh my God, we didn't realize how hard it is. But they're still talking about it. Yes, absolutely. Phil says Massie can't be a solid ticket. Agreed. But here is my worry, Phil. And I don't know this, but it's my concern. Of all the people in that group, Tucker, MTG, Massie, I would rather Tucker actually not run. I would rather him be a cheerleader in some way, a supporter in some way. I don't think Tucker has the charisma to do it, to be very fair. I don't mean to sound, I don't think he can do it best. Massie could do it. Kent could do it. MTG could do it. They could all do it. So I think any of them could. I think MTG is actually the savviest of the bunch. And that may seem weird, but I think she's the savviest. I think she actually is the most street smart of the whole crew. I think MTG is the most street smart. I think Tucker is the most IQ smart. I think MTG is the most street smart of the bunch. That's my gut. So I think it's a good, I mean, if they could somehow figure out how to do it, Massie Kent's fine, right? I think it's fine. But if they could figure it out, I think they have a great shot at making some impact.
To save our country.
So speaking of our audience, we're actually asking our audience both on tyt.com and on our YouTube channels.
See, they're actually asking
post section. Should Tucker Carlson, Joe Kent, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Tom Massie form an independent third party that is truly America first? Just yes or no.
That's amazing that he would even do that. Yes.
I'm curious what our audience is going to say about that.
Yep. Maggie says, damn, you're so right about celebrity versus statesman. To me, LaRouche was a statesman who was treated worse. Yes. Then as bad as Bobby and Massie. Yes. The last statesman we had as president was actually George W. Bush. And I know some of you laughed at me when I said the other night, but it's still true. He was still a statesman. He was that way. He wasn't a celebrity. Obama was a celebrity. Trump, celebrity. Biden only won because of Obama's celebrity. The next president will also be a celebrity. So yes, so this idea of a statesman becoming president, those days are long gone. Look at half of our congressmen. AOC, celebrity, right? Now Bernie, celebrity. Most of these people are celebrities now too. So yes, the day of the statesman's over.
But to your point, Joe, let me skip ahead to graphic 6 here. Let me show you the favorable and unfavorable for the Republican and Democratic parties. They're actually very similar. It's 58-40 and 59-39 in the two different parties, nearly identical. And in the old days, it would have been 58% favorable, 40% unfavorable, but now it's reversed.
Yes. Superman says, culturally speaking, Tucker Carlson's movement has to get some solid Black Americans on. Not in a DEI way, but realistically, ADOS Americans are all about taking action. This is something that Dems have been, well, there's another one, excellent on, community grassroots. Yes. Now, they haven't been good with Black people. Democrats haven't been. But Democrats are better at organizing. The DSA is proof of that, right? Don't be wrong. Can Republicans organize? Sure, here or there, they can. They're not bad at organizing, but the DSA and Democrats are just better at organizing. It's just true. The Republicans have to work on that or they're going to be in trouble. Now, to your point, can others do it? I think yes. But the issue is there has to be a bit of cult of personality here. Bobby Kennedy Jr. was a perfect example of that. Bobby Kennedy Jr., he motivated tons of people. It was a cult of personality. Trump did too, cult of personality. Obama, cult of personality. I know lots of people who worked on Obama's campaign. Mamdani, cult of personality, 100%. So you have to create that, which is why I think a Tucker may be a good idea. Maybe a Massie, someone like that might be a good for that. Get the people, yes, I want to get behind him to do that. But you're right. How do you get the Black community on board? Well, you have to have actual policies that Black Americans go, oh, that makes sense. That is not what Tucker did today. I'm not sure Tucker knows how. Not an insult. I don't think he knows how. Tucker, or someone who knows Tucker, give me a call. I do. Give me a call. I do. If you remember the last poll I was in by Zogby, last Zogby poll, they were surprised how well I did with the Black community. They were surprised because most independents often don't use Democrats. Doesn't mean I was like 80% black. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it was big. So yes.
It's 58% unfavorable for the Republicans and 59% unfavorable for the Democrats. So, and now 45% of voters are independents. They're larger than the Republican or the Democratic parties.
Yep.
Almost never talked about mainstream media. Mainstream media loves the fake fights of the uniparty and how they all somehow magically come to the same conclusion, as Joe pointed out there.
Every time you see it, I'm gonna show you another one. The mainstream media just constantly goes, well, you can't live, you can't win, you beep it constantly every time, and they reinforce it. Yes. Megan says, I didn't think Tucker was right-leaning. I think it was insightful and rational. You can be both. I was surprised at the depth of his remarks. I'm tired about political labels. Yes, but he was pro-capitalism, anti-woke, which is right-leaning in today in America. It was. I mean, the left moves more towards socialism. The right moves more towards capitalism. So it was more right-leaning. He was pro-farmers, which the left tends to almost ignore farmers. So it was that. He was for Maha, which right now is more right-leaning than left-leaning. So I said it's leaning. I wasn't saying it's not a right platform. I would agree with you on that. But it was right-leaning in many ways. There was some lefties too. He was against baby boomers. He literally attacked baby boomers like it was no tomorrow. He was also pro-trades, which right now is much more right-leaning than left-leaning. Most left-leaning. The Democratic Party is the party of educated women and like teachers, the academics. They are not pro-trades. He was anti-immigration, which again is very much right-leaning compared to left. So I think he did say left-leaning things. You're right. He was insightful and rational, but it was absolutely in today's, I guess, prism, it was a right-leaning platform, if that makes any sense.
But Joe, if you guys did this party, would it be just for the presidential elections, or could there be other seats that you guys are on for?
I think there definitely could be other seats. I think focusing, though, actually on the executive branch is probably.
What do I always say? Focus on the executive branch. Yes. Focus on governors. Focus on presidents. Focus on mayors. People listen to executives. Mamdani is more popular than MTG, more popular than Thomas Massie. Why? He's an executive. He is mayor of the largest city in the country. Executives matter. I know people don't like that. It's true. Joe Kent gets that. Correct. This is the right answer.
The most pressing issue, because the president has the most control over our foreign policy. All the other issues that the uniparty.
And this is the key. Remember, I told you have to have one big issue and then a personality, right? Abraham Lincoln and abolition, right? You have others too. There weren't many out there, but Abraham was the front runner, and then abolition. He's trying to make front runner, whoever the person is, maybe it's Tucker, maybe it's Massie, whatever, right? And anti-war and peace. What Tucker called decency. That's what he called it. He said decency. If you saw that, Maggie saw the whole thing, she knows. Under decency, he talked about the idea of being kind, the idea of being anti-war, the idea of not having a Department of War, but a Department of Defense, but all those things. So yes, I think that's his key issue here. And it's the right move.
Likes us to fight about, the president actually doesn't have a lot of unilateral authority over. When you start talking about the social issues that divide America, when you start talking about like the more local issues, you've got a lot of control at the state level for sure. But then you've also got to deal with the House and the Senate. That's why I think a lot of presidents do get wrapped around the axle with foreign policy, because anywhere else they want to work, especially in the domestic space, they have to get the consensus of the House, of the Senate, of the states, et cetera. But then when they go over to foreign policy, they're essentially the king of the world. And that's why the foreign lobbies and the military industrial complex spend so much money lobbying the president on his foreign policy. And so I think if we started with the executive branch, with the presidential election.
And this is where almost everyone who isn't stuck in the left-right paradigm agrees. Whether you agree we should be fighting in Iran or not or whatever, or whether you want Medicare for all or not or whatever, most people who are not in the left-right paradigm will agree, stop giving our money away. Stop throwing it away in foreign policy. Bring it back home. whether you want to put that into bridges or welfare or Medicare for all or back in tax breaks, whatever. You don't want it going someplace else. You want it staying home. You want to stay in local. That's universal, except for those who are like, we gotta whatever bomb someone or whatever. So yes, Maggie says, I agree with Joe Kent. I'm Jewish and detest Netanyahu, and I don't want to say the word because they're gonna get canceled. I would never vote for a air package candidate. I know I'm on YouTube, guys. That's that baby talk. Yes, it's a big deal. This concept. Someone will actually say it. You're seeing Democrats say it openly now because they know that's where the country's going. You're not wrong. That's where the country's going.
In 2028, and we started forming a broad coalition that doesn't agree on everything, doesn't agree on social issues, doesn't agree on a lot of domestic issues, but we agreed we're done with the foreign wars, we're done with the foreign lobbying, we're going to work together to do what's right for the American people. I do think we'd have a real chance.
There has, since I've been involved in anything about politics, there has never been a better chance for impact than now. These 4 people with other cash coming in have the best chance to make actual impact. And again, they don't have to win the presidency. I hope one of them does. It'd be amazing, right? They don't have to. They have to get the people. Remember, most people who are Republicans, Democrats aren't Republicans, Democrats because they're conservative or liberal. Most aren't. Most are that because that's how they get into power. That's what they care about, which is what makes the average Republican Democrat angry because they think, oh, my Republican people, they're conservative and they care about conservative values. No, they don't. I'm liberal and they care. No, they don't. They don't care. They just want to be in power. So when the independent walks up and says, you want to stay in power? You have to give me something. Again, RFK Jr. proved this to be true. I said it 2 years ago. I was right then. I'm right now. The independents can move the other guys because they're not actually conservatives. The leaders, they're not actually liberals. They're about power. You think the Republican leadership gives a shit about conservatism? Stop fooling yourself. Stop. Do average Republicans? Yes, that's why they vote, because they think that. Do you think the leadership of the Democratic Party actually cares about liberalism? Of course not. They don't care about that. Kathy Hochul, my governor, who's a Democrat, will be a Republican tomorrow if she thought she could win. She wouldn't care. She would change all of her views tomorrow. She'd, oh, no, I've always been a conservative. She'd say that in 5 seconds. So would half the Democratic Party. Republicans, same thing. The Republicans, half of them would just become Democrats tomorrow that they could win. Oh, no, I've always been liberal. They wouldn't care as long as they can win. So, yes. Rona says, I agree with that, Larry. MTG will get in the gutter and piss on the rats. Yes, she's street smart. MTG is. That woman is street smart. Like, she's going to know who's full of crap, who's not. She's going to know. She's very street smart. I agree. HVAC says, Tucker being party chair would be great. I 100% agree. Yes. Doc says, Tucker's maniacal laugh wouldn't fly the electorate. Yes, he doesn't have that kind of charisma. But party chair, home run. Completely agree. Yes. D says, I'm having deja vu because I already talked this over with Larry today about MTG being the savvy one. I think she is. I think she's the savviest of the bunch. Yes. So, Maggie says, I can't agree with you about George W. Bush. He was an idiot. Most controlled by Dirty to Cheney. Yes, but that is okay. I got the same thing last night when I mentioned it, Maggie. Just because someone's incompetent or bad doesn't not make them a statesman. Many times statesmen are incompetent or bad. Yes. But I do think that George W. Bush was trying to and failed horribly and believed he could, and it was utterly wrong, that he could actually change the Middle East. I think he believed it. Now, he's an idiot. Okay, I'm not mad at you for that. Yes. Doesn't mean he wasn't thinking that way. He was. I think most people who are around there have mentioned he was trying to. He believed that if he made the right invasions, he could change the Middle East and democratize and blah, blah, blah. I think he bought it. I think he did. Now, Dick Cheney, but I think George W. Bush believed it. So, yeah. All righty. Let's see here. I grabbed that one already. Okay, we are still rocking and rolling. All right. Phil, good. Thank you, $2. When you get that Tucker money, hire me. 100%. And get that Tucker money. Guys, help me get the Tucker money. How can you help me? By clicking the like button. That's how you help me get that Tucker money. By sharing this and reposting this somewhere. By subscribing. Guys, if I don't get this to move forward, no one's going to see this. And if you actually care and I hope you do, about having a chance at an actual movement to where people can hear the things that we talk about, that people can understand there's a better way of doing things. People have an actual chance of moving the needle forward at all. I'm not joking when I say this. There is no one in this country who knows more about this than I do. And repeat that. There is no one in the country who knows more about this than I do. I am the only guy who has been trying to fight this battle to include ballot access, to include polling, to include raising money for the past 8 years. No one else has. That's why the RFG people picked me up when the time came. That's why when Tosi was thinking about running, her people came to me. When Schultz from Schultz from Starbucks was considering running, his people came to me. No one knows more than I do. Now, sadly, in 2022, when I got my ass kicked, all of a sudden the Democrats, Republicans told everybody, oh, Larry Sharpe's terrible. He got his ass kicked. Oh, no, you don't want to talk to him anymore. The Republicans are worse. Democrats don't care as much. Republicans have gone out of their way to smear my name among all these people. They want to get their hooks in there. Why? For those of you who remember the RFK Jr. campaign, some of you were there, you watched all the infiltrators come in, suck up all the money, and screw him over. Why? Because I wasn't on his campaign. I was in the pack afterwards. The people in the campaign didn't want me there. Why? Because I would have shown him who the hell was full of shit and thrown them out. That's why. Well, if you care about this, get these people to reach out to me, make this grow by clicking the like button and sharing it someplace, doing that so that people can see it, so that they go, we got to call Larry again. The Republicans been lying to me about him. This guy knows what he's talking about, and he can actually make something happen. So yes.
Of putting the Republicans and the Democrats to a side and just focus on this issue, because, you know, every president says they're going to do all these different things on the domestic side. You know, a lot of people on the MAGA base right now are complaining why President Trump's domestic policies haven't been addressed. And I can tell you why, because we've spent all of our time, money, and effort over on these wars in the Middle East. Yep. And it's been the same for multiple presidents over and over again. So I think starting with the presidential run in 2028, that broad coalition, and I think that broad coalition already exists. There was a lot of crossover between Bernie Sanders and between Donald Trump. I've had people point out that I voted for Bernie Sanders at one point in time. And they're like,
I bring this up. And what people don't get, and Republicans and Democrats get mad at this all the time, and it's silly. Most people aren't paying that much attention. They aren't. And I know this. I was the same. I voted for Ross Perot, and then I voted for Ralph Nader. I couldn't have told you their policies. I couldn't have told you their policies. In fact, I remember when it first happened, I thought that Ralph Nader replaced Perot. I didn't know different parties. I had no idea. I just thought it was the third party. That's how much I wasn't paying attention. I did not know. I couldn't have told you one of their policies. All I knew is they weren't the establishment, therefore they were better than them. That was as far as I went, and I voted 4 times that way. Twice for Perot and twice for Nader. Did not care. That's what it was. A lot of people in 2016 couldn't have told you any of Bernie's policies or any of Trump's policies. They just thought Trump, Bernie, yeah, they're the rebels. So if your family was Democrat or you saw Bernie before you saw Trump, you said, well, Bernie's the guy. He's the rebel guy. I'm going to vote for him. And then when the Democrats got rid of Bernie, right, and they literally got rid of him, you went, oh, Trump guy. Oh, he's a rebel. Just go vote for that guy. A lot of people who were Bernie supporters went to Trump. And again, couldn't have told you what either policy was. The people who watch this show tend to follow policy. A lot of people who do follow policy don't get it. How could you vote for Bernie? He's a socialist. How you vote for Trump? He's not. People aren't paying attention. They just go, I know that stuff sucks. I got that. Stuff sucks. And these guys aren't the establishment, so I'll vote for them. That's what happens. That's what Joe Kent was doing too. A lot of people were doing it.
But then you were a Trump guy, and I'm like, actually, do you realize how much similarity there was between what Bernie Sanders was saying and what Donald Trump was saying on the stump at the end of the day? Because they were both anti-establishment. They both wanted us out of the foreign wars. They wanted to put the American worker first. So I do think there's a lot of potential there, and I think that could eventually spiral down to other down ticket seats as well. But I think,
yeah, see, spirals to other tickets as well. They're smart. They're saying we have to have a presidential candidate because that's how you gain authority. That's how you gain legitimacy. But, so maybe someone like an MTG runs again in something else, and maybe someone else runs here or someone else runs there. These are all good ideas. I love this so much. Robin says, how many other countries tax their people that send the money to US? Yeah, none. None. But we're an empire. They're not. Remember, we must pay for the empire. Are you not a loyal citizen of the empire, Robin? Why do you not love the empire? The empire loves you. Don't you feel the love? Don't you feel the warmth of collectivism? Don't you feel the love of the empire? So yes, that is the reason why. So yeah, this is a great idea though. This concept of, imagine if, say, I don't know, maybe Kent runs for president. I'm making this up. And then Massie runs for governor of Kentucky, and MTG runs for whatever governor. She's Georgia, right? So she runs for whatever, Senate in Georgia or something, right? Whatever. So they run for whatever they can actually win. Not a bad idea.
Starting with the 2028 to ensure that we get out of the foreign wars is a good starting point.
Yeah, and obviously I think one of them meant it and the other one didn't, and the proof is a little bit in the pudding, but
not that he's not a lefty.
But that's water under the bridge. Now we're going to the future, and I've got some tough questions about that in a sec, but first.
Good, I like that. D says, GOP podcasters will parrot what Trump will obviously put out, probably Truth Post, or say on record. They will discredit Tucker and Massie because they don't drop Trump's pants. Yeah, 100% true. Yeah, but then the left will do it too, by the way. The left will do it also. The right will be more aggressive because most of these people come from the right. So again, remember, for the left, they will see, if you're more hardcore left, you will see Tucker and MTG and Massie as, well, they were always evil Republicans, so who cares, right? Big deal, no big deal. But this is similar to how Democrats treat RFK Jr. Democrats who don't support RFK Jr., that part, they hate RFK Jr. They hate him. Republicans don't hate him. They may not like him. They may not want to form a Democrat, may not trust him. Who knows? They don't hate him. Why do Democrats who didn't move on to support him hate him? Because they see him as a traitor. That's the reason. They see him as a traitor. Republicans see MTG, Joe Kent, Tucker as a traitor, as Massie, as traitors. That's why they hate them. There's a difference. Democrats never liked them. So whatever. Republicans never liked RFK Jr. Whatever, right? But Republicans demonstrated. So Republicans will be more aggressive against them. Not just that. There's a higher chance Republicans who are pissed off at Trump will go towards them. So Republicans must attack them. Why? Because in our left-right paradigm, that's all we do. Republicans, Democrats, establishment will never have a better idea to show, vote for me because I'm better. They won't. They just go, they're dumb, they're Muslims, they're conservative, whatever. They'll just use the bad word of the day. Communist, whatever. They'll say that instead. Traitors, disloyal. They'll just insult them. So, because they don't know any better. So you're right. You will watch the GOP podcasters will believe anything Trump says because they do. They just believe whatever he says. They don't believe it. They do it because they know their audience wants to believe it. That's better. Have them don't believe it. They don't care. They just want to keep getting views. And they'll insult these guys now. If they turned and came back, they would love them again. Same garbage. So I don't want to talk about this crap half the time because it's the same way every time. So yes.
Just a couple of quick ones here. Who called the meeting? Let's be honest. Running a business means constantly putting out fires and trying to
get past this commercial.
Phone conversations or
work.com.
You know, we had all been texting each other for quite some time and having phone conversations or seeing each other in passing. We said, hey, let's pick a date. I don't remember exactly who that was. I think we all just decided, hey, Tucker's got a great place up in Maine, and if he'll have us, let's go up there. So we basically, between myself, Marjorie, and Thomas, we just kind of invited ourselves over to Tucker's house, and he's a gracious enough host that.
And there we go. That's how to talk about it. Now they're not there yet, obviously, but they're on their way there. So yes, they're on their way there. D says, should they focus on Stop 270 like Laura / you did? Yeah, remember, there are ways to make, there's only basically, all right. There are 3 ways to win the presidency. 3 ways. One is virtually impossible. I mean, not 100%, but like 99.9% impossible. One is possible with a lot of luck. And one is actually very realistic, but you must change the definition. So let me explain all three. Number one, is it physically possible to get enough electoral votes, 270, and to win? Physically possible. But to do that, the independent party would have to raise, I'm not joking, something like $2 to $3 billion. Could that be done? Mathematically, yes. Realistically, no. That's not realistic, but as I always try to tell you how something could happen. Is it possible for whatever, Massie to run with Kent and to win 270 electoral votes? Yes. If Massie can raise between $2 and $3 billion, there's a chance. I cannot imagine that happening. I mean, unless all of a sudden Elon Musk goes, I got you. Here's all my billions. Because the problem is, if someone like Elon Musk actually said, yes, I got you, I will give you $3 billion. Some other billionaire will give the other guys a bunch of billions. So now you got to go to $5 billion. So then you got to go to, right? So could it be done? I wouldn't try that. But yes. But there's a second way you can win, and that is the Stop 270. It's the 12th Amendment rule. For those who don't know, I brought up before, it was how someone like RFK Jr. could have won the presidency in 2024. It was the most realistic way. Also challenging, right? Not easy to do at all, but you could do it. And what is that? And what it is you focus all of your money, time, and energy on several states so that you can win enough electoral votes just to stop the other two from getting 270. How that works, if neither one can get 270, it goes to the Congress. And in the Congress, each state gets one vote. That's the 12th Amendment. One vote. So it doesn't matter how much. California is the same as Wyoming. Each state gets one vote. So you'd have to make it to where you've won enough states to where not only did no one get 270, but also no candidate won 26 states. Because if the candidate won 26 states, they get 26 votes, they won. Right? So DC doesn't get a vote in this because it's not a state. This is just the states. Hawaii, Guam, no vote. Or nothing. I don't get anything. Nothing. Just the states. So you have to make both of those things happen. In that case, it'd have to be a brokered convention, a brokered electoral college. They have to broker it. Now, are the red states going to vote for a blue? No. Are the blue states going to vote for red? No. So you have to have a compromise candidate. In that case, Massie could win as a compromise candidate. Now, the problem with that is now you have to have the vice president. The vice president is picked from the other two. So now you got to figure out where they're going for. You don't get your vice president. So if it was a Massie Kent ticket and this happens, Kent doesn't become vice president unless they broker that. The Senate can make a decision on that. The Senate confirms that. It's kind of weird how that works, but that could happen. So the Congress could say, we don't want the other two, we want Kent, but they wouldn't. What would happen is one of them would agree for their guy or gal, and they would agree to Massie if Massie picks their or allows for them to pick their vice president. So the Republicans might go, fine, we'll vote for Massie, but you give us our vice president. Democrats might do the same thing. You give us a vice president. That's how it would actually work. That could happen. The last way of winning, which is the most realistic victory, is you don't say victory is winning. You say victory is gaining 5% and at least one electoral vote so you can affect the next election cycle. That is a victory that can be done. That's winnable. That is a doable victory. Massie could do that. That is a winnable victory. What does that mean? That means you try to get 5% of the total vote. I mean, to be forward, Gary Johnson got 3%. So Massie could get 5%. That's doable. You get 5% of the total vote, popular vote, and win at least one electoral college vote. Maybe you win part of Maine, Nebraska. Maybe you focus on like Delaware or Hawaii or whatever. You focus on a small state where you can put all your resources so you win at least one electoral vote or a small area, and you get 5%. What does that mean? With 5%, you now qualify for a matching funds for the next election cycle, which means you will also get in debates the next, whether you get a debate this cycle or not, you get debates the next election cycle. You set your party up for 2032 to be a real player. Those are your three ways you can win the presidency. Again, 270 if you plan on raising $3 billion. Okay. 2, you go for 12th Amendment, which can be done. It is a challenge, but can be done. Or 3, you go 5% set up for 32. You break 5% in 28, gain at least one electoral vote. You are on the board in 28. You got a shot at 270 in 2032 because you have 4 years to prep, 4 years to raise money, 4 years to win local races, to win a mayorship here, a Congress here, a so-and-so here. You got a chance in 32. If you can do it again in 32, you can win 36. It becomes winnable in 36. You can become a real third party. Those are the victories, right? 5% twice, you can actually win 270 by 36. That can be done if you win 5% or more twice, win electoral votes twice. Because at that point, the country goes, these guys are real. These guys are real. And you have a couple Congress people, maybe a governor, couple of, state assembly, whatever. You've got some seats, you're real. That is my view on that. I hope that makes sense, D. I think that's the answer. So D says Elon is sucking Trump's booty right now. Yes, it's true. Elon's back and I'm going to give him all my money. Elon is wrecking Elon for some reason is deciding to wreck his legacy. He should have never got involved, should have walked away. And the problem is Trump ignored him. Trump tweeted like, why are you going back to him? Right? Why are you going back to Trump? Trump ignored what I told him to do because his people don't listen to me. Republicans watch my show too. They don't listen. Republicans they'll never listen. I told Republicans about Mom Donnie 3 years ago. They'll never listen to me to their own detriment. To their own detriment. I told them what to do. They didn't. He didn't go back and build his whole area. And what happens? Well, now we got his ass kicked. Phil says long-term gains in politics requires a bench. True, and that's my point perfectly, Phil. You get it. If they were to actually get that 5% in 2028, you begin to build your bench for a very good showing in 32 and an actual possible victory in 36. If you hit it and have 8 years of victories here or there, Americans love winners. It's who we are. You have some victories, we'll follow you. It's who we are. We'll absolutely follow you. You are correct.
He fed us dinner and facilitated the conversation.
There we go.
So was there any conversation about who would lead the party?
Not quite yet. I mean, we're going back and forth, and
they're not there yet, which I get. It is a big deal. D says it. Go tag Larry Sharpe and Sharpe Medias on MTG, Tucker, and Massie Medias this week. Explain if you want to be in the ballot. You better to Larry. Guys, D is right. I'm asking every one of you a personal favor. I'm dead serious. I'm asking every one of you a personal favor. Go on to MTG's media, Tucker Carlson's media, Thomas Massie's media, Joe Kent's media, tag Larry Sharpe and say, hey, if you want ballot access, talk to Larry Sharpe. All of you have to go do that. Please go do that. It matters. Please go do that. I'm dead serious. I'm asking you a serious favor. D is correct. Do that so they go, again, will some of them watch? Maybe not. Will their team see it? Yes. Who the hell is Larry Sharpe guy? Then they'll check me out, and now we're good. Please do that. It really does matter. Just go there. Just say, hey, if you want to be in a ballot, talk to Larry Sharpe. That's it. That's how it works. Thank you for that, D. I appreciate it. Yes. The link to this show is my Facebook profile daily. All my local friends think I'm nuts, but I have friends live in. Thank you. I appreciate that.
They'd say all of us at one point in time told Tucker he needs to run, and Tucker's been pretty public that he's not going to run.
He doesn't want to run.
So
I get it.
We all made our pitch to Tucker as to why he should run. And hopefully he wakes up one day and Tucker says he's going to run. I would fully support that. But right now it was mostly just on how we need to work. Yeah,
Tucker doesn't want to run. Tucker wants to be in the back. I think HVAC is correct. Was HVAC who said it? I forgot one of you guys said it. Tucker being the party chair. Better move for him. I agree completely. D says, look at the people that went from RFK to Trump just because Trump RFK told them. How does some of them feel now? Yeah, I think a lot of them did. I agree. I mean, I spoke to many people who were like, I would ask them, why are you voting for Trump? I'm not really voting for Trump. I'm voting for RFK. I miss voting for him through Trump. It's a common tactic. Yes, very common.
to build a broader coalition and then look at, is it feasible to actually do a third political party? Could we get on the ballot in all 50 states? Because
getting on the ballot. Getting on the ballot. Who's been talking about that for 8 years? They're finally getting it.
I just remember the Kennedy campaign had some real issues with even getting ballot access just a couple of years ago. So,
yep. Brona says, Governor of Kentucky might be a good move for Massie. It's winnable for him. I don't know how he wins a presidential race. I mean, maybe, if you think the way I think, doing what I would tell him to do, maybe. But an actual victory is very challenging. Has he won a Republican primary? He could win a Republican primary for governor in Kentucky. That's possible. That's a thing he could do, particularly if Rand Paul gets behind him. That's a big chat, but he could do it. That could be done. Him winning an actual, I don't know how he wins the national primary. I don't see it, but it's possible in Kentucky. I agree. It could be done. That's doable, at least.
I think we know conceptually where we're at in terms of could we put together a movement? I think we really could, because I think there is a hunger for it in the country. But then once we get that movement established, would we be, picked apart by procedure and not even be able to get someone on the ballot? Does it?
Not if you brought me on board. No, you wouldn't, because I would know what lawyers to pick. Right? RFK Jr. went to DC and picked white shoe firms. And I told them, don't do that. That's fucking stupid. They work for Democrats, Republicans, and will screw you over. And wait, they did. Yes, just what I said. Don't do that. You have to pick the local guys who've been scrapping all day with the Greens and the Conservatives and the Libertarians and the Constitution Party. You got to bring those guys. Those guys know how to scrap. They didn't listen. So that won't happen, Joe. If you bring me aboard, I will show you how to do that. Yes. Rona says, it's interesting. The Dems see RFK as a traitor. Yep. That could explain the outright hate for Trump as well. Let's not forget, Trump has been hobnobbing with Dems in the 70s. Yes, that's why Democrats hate him so much. He's also a traitor. That's correct. Trump was Democrat for most of his life. Okay. Why? Because he's left-leaning? No. Because in New York State, that's how you get ahead. You become a Democrat. Right? People go, Larry's become a Republican. If I want to sell out, I should become a Democrat. That's how you get ahead in New York State. You just pick the party that's going to win, Democrat. That's why Cuomo's a Democrat. That's why Kathy Hochul's a Democrat. Not because they're Democrat, not because they're left-leaning. They don't care. They just want power. So yeah. So Trump was Democrat because who you voted. That's how you got money. That's who ran everything. That's why I did it. None of he carries the way. So you're totally correct.
Make more sense than to run as an insurgent candidate in one of the major political parties. That's the stuff that we're trying to figure out right now.
Super Sense, can you explain Stop 270? I hope I did. I tried to.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So look, conventional wisdom is to get on the ballot in all 50 states.
True.
Even if you were able to jump through all the bureaucratic hurdles, which I think that if you put enough effort and money behind it, you probably could.
And if you hire Larry Sharpe, yes.
Will take at least 10 to 20 million. These days, it's probably closer to 20.
It'll take about 20 million. That's true. He's right. It's about 20 million. That's almost what RFK Jr. spent. Yes, about 20 million. However, there's other ways you can do it. In other words, something like this, you don't have to pay for all of them. For those who don't understand how that works, to be on the ballot in all 50 states, you don't have to be in the ballot in all 50 states in the same political party. Most people don't know this. You can actually mix and match parties and still be on the ballot in all 50 states. Yes. So let's say, for example, you decide, I want to be in the ballot for the states, but the Constitution Party has decided to accept you as their nominee. You are on the ballot in any states the Constitution Party is in. So if they're in 14 states, you're on a ballot in 14 states. You only have to go and find the other 36 states. Does that make sense? Now, what if the Constitution Party decides to take you in 16 states and the Forward Party takes you in 2? Well, now you're on 16 states. But wait a minute, 2 different parties. Who cares? The votes are yours. It doesn't matter. So yeah. And they go, well, that'll work. But I also want to get on the ballot with whatever, no labels. They've got 2 states. Okay, now I got 18 states. So I have to get the other 32. You can mix and match. We the People has a couple states. Grab that. Now we got 20. On through for 30 states. You could do that. That's possible. If you're Libertarian line, right? If Massie runs, he can get the Libertarian line. The other guys, I don't know if they can. I don't know if MTG can. I don't know. I mean, you can. If you ask me to tell you how to talk to Libertarians, if you're listening, I can help you to talk Libertarians. So maybe you had a shot at getting Libertarian Party line. Maybe you could do it. You get that, you get 40 some odd states automatically. Any state Libertarian parties aren't in, maybe other states are in. You can mix and match. It doesn't matter. So you can, and a state like New York State, you can have multiple lines. So it can work. That's the issue. It absolutely can work. So I hope that makes sense.
Or beyond. So is the plan to raise that from the, if you guys do it, from the grassroots? Because on the left, it would be kind of obvious. Our insurgents are not just against AIPAC, but against all corporate PAC money. So I don't know if you guys discussed that at all about taking or not taking corporate PAC money and leading on grassroots or not.
We all know, especially, you know, I've ran for Congress unsuccessfully, and then Thomas and Margie have been there. We know that the corporate PAC money, especially AIPAC, et cetera, that's how they get you. I mean, that is how the lobbies end up owning so many of our elected officials.
True. Yes, but then how do you raise that $1 billion, right? There's the problem. Okay, so if I follow the rules and don't do corporate PACs, that's fine for local people, Cenk. It is. It's fine when you're still a Democrat anyway. You have the system. What about when you're not? How do you do that? How do you do it where all you can raise is $3,300 per person? That's all you can raise. And you got to fight $1 billion. No. I'm going to say some people aren't going to like. Take money from whoever will give you money. That's how the game is played. Take money from whoever will give you money. Take it. Sounds horrible. I know, but very often it's true. You got to do what you got to do sometimes. I get it. It sucks. I hate it. Sometimes you have to. I mean, there's obviously some exceptions, but you know what I'm saying. Ronner, I have a purpose for this week. Larry always says one thing we're missing is purpose. I'm going to tag LS on MPG, Tucker, and Massie post. Yes, please, please, please. Yes, please do that. Yes. Teresa, I'm going to help you. Thank you. Yes, let's do it.
So we all definitely recognize that there is a lot of power in the grassroots. We wouldn't have as much money as anyone in the establishment, but that's okay. We could use social media. There's platforms like yours right here. I'm talking to you.
That's true. Yes, that happens. We're good. That's the worst part, right? I look at that. I am very often strapped for cash when it comes to my campaign, all the time. Could I do more? Yeah. If any of the Libertarian heavy hitters would even mention my freaking name on all the shows they go on, I wouldn't have a problem with money. They never do because they just don't care. The Libertarian leaders or whatever, celebritarians, whoever the hell they are, they don't care at all about ballot access. They don't care. All they care about is their own clicks, making their own money. Yes, they don't give a damn. They don't care at all. I wish they did. If they did, I'd have no problem. None at all. If I can get on Cenk Uygur's show every other week, if I could get on Tucker Carlson's show, if I can get on Joe Rogan's show every other week, I'd be fine. I would have no problem. Can't get any of them to give a damn. They just don't care. Like, no. That doesn't make me look good, Larry. So why would I bother helping you out? Well, because then the movement. Why do I care about the movement? I care about getting paid. Okay, that's who you are. You care about getting paid. I get it. That's all they care. Getting paid. I wish it wasn't true.
The Young Turks, Tucker's got a huge platform. I mean, Marjorie has a pretty huge platform. Thomas does now as well. So we think that nowadays with the environment on social media, with unconventional media.
Becky says, I suspect you're only a few degrees separation from Kent and others. I don't know who you know, but they know some. No, I do know a lot of these guys. This is my point, Becky. Too many people just don't care. They just, there was a post on my team the other day. I was a bit concerned. I remember in 2016, after Gary Johnson lost badly and didn't get the 5%. And a lot of us, me included, I say all the time, I honestly thought he had a real chance of getting 5%. I didn't think he was going to win. Obviously, I love Gary Johnson. I wish he had won, clearly. Just to be very clear. But didn't think he was going to win, but I thought he can get 5%. I thought that was doable. He was our best candidate Libertarians had ever had when it comes to electoral success. We've never gotten more votes than him. When it came to electoral success, no one was better than Gary Johnson. I thought he could do it. He'll get 5%. And he didn't. And after he didn't get it, he said, Larry, maybe I'm just not the right messenger. And maybe he wasn't. But whether he was or wasn't, he was the best one we had. That's it. We put out our best warrior. And maybe he wasn't good enough. Okay. It is what it is. He was our best warrior, though. I sometimes feel like maybe I'm just not the right messenger. Maybe I'm not. I do feel it sometimes. I'm like, I'm saying what has to happen. I'm right all the goddamn time. I show people this all the time. I have the answers for everything. Yes, I will say it openly. If you have a problem with something in politics, I will give you a policy to fix it. I will give you a policy, and it will be a libertarian policy. I will give you one. That's my skill sets, what I do. And Becky, I can't get people to care. That's not true. I can't get enough people to care. That's the way. I can't get past that thing. I have not done it. It's been years, and I can't get past that piece. Ever since my failure in 2022, 2018, I was on top of the world. 2022, I failed. And I take responsibility for the victories of 2018 and the defeats of 2022, both. I have not been able to recover. And I need enough people to actually go, yeah. I talk to people who know these people. And they go, yeah, whatever. And they don't make the next contact. They don't respond to me. They don't make the connection. They just don't do it. I asked them again. They just, at one point, I'm just tired of asking. And maybe I'm the wrong messenger. Maybe it's somebody else. Becky, maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. I don't know. So I do try. I haven't given up. I keep going. A part of me says maybe I'm the wrong messenger. But here's the problem. There's no other messenger. There's no one else trying this. There is literally no one else in this country trying to get 50 state ballot access for an independent party. I am the only guy. There's no one else. So if I'm not the right messenger, then there's no messenger. That's all I can say. So, Andrew, thank you, my friend. I appreciate the money. I do appreciate it. But every dollar counts. I appreciate it tremendously. I am still out here working. I don't know why sometimes, but I am.
Idea. We think that we could raise it all from the grassroots. And I think we would have to stick to that commitment, because the second you start taking the corporate PAC money, then, you get across the finish line. But what was it all for? You're not truly in charge anyways. So I think raising the money from the grassroots and then filling in the gaps in money with the tools of social media and having a legitimate grassroots campaign.
He's not wrong. That's not easy to do. Absolutely. HVAC says RFK Jr. was in a ballot with different parties, different states. Yes, we discussed that. Yes, you're right, HVAC. That's what I was talking about. Yes. Becky says, is Massie Libertarian? Maybe that's the line to follow to reach him directly if you're No, I know Massie. No, I know him. Like, he talks about me. Yes, I know him. But he hasn't reached out. Again, maybe I'm the wrong messenger. Yes.
To get us over the finish line, as opposed to raising, $1 billion. That's the way we.
Robin says, take money from whoever will give you money. The song of the working class of America too. I know it's tough. I know. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but a little bit. He says, Dave Smith don't care. He don't care. People say all the time, Larry, you get Dave Smith on your side. Dave Smith don't give a shit. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. I wish he did. I wish he cared. He doesn't care. Dave's about Dave. He doesn't care about getting on a ballot or candidates or Libertarian Party. He don't care. It would be nice. But yeah. Phil says, would Dave Rubin have your back? I would take it. He's in trouble. Dave, you're in trouble. I'll help rebuild you. Come on, brother. I'm in. Let's do this. I'm in. Phil's $2. I think Ross Pro 5% and wasted. Yes. Yeah. He wasted it. He did. Ross really didn't know what he was getting himself into.
Have to go to stay true to the movement.
So, Joe, any conversations about one of the toughest issues? How do you appeal to the left? Obviously, we've got some significant disagreements, LGBTQ rights, abortion.
Yes, see, that's a piece on that. Yes, if you saw this earlier part, Maggie, LGBTQ rights, Tucker literally was talking not positively, that's what I'll say, not necessarily negatively, but not positively about the trans community, right? Not negative, but not positively. And he was obviously pro-life. He was talking about family and babies and stuff. So now it wasn't aggressive, but someone like a Cenk is going to bring this up. That's what I mean when I said it leaned right. It wasn't like aggressive, but it did lean right. That was my point. Even Cenk,
and all the social issues that we've all been fighting over for the last, many decades, probably our whole lives. So any strategy on how to get past that and appeal to the left?
I think it's, especially for the presidency, I think it is having a very, very simple platform. And it's acknowledging upfront, like, we are going to disagree on a lot of domestic policy. And
yes, he's focusing. This is a brilliant move. Focusing on foreign policy and anti-war. This goes back to my idea of Lincoln focusing on abolition. The Republican Party focusing on abolition. And then at one point later, him focusing on union, right? Focusing on one thing. And people going, you know what? The other stuff sucks, but that one thing matters. So you know what? I'm going to do that because that one thing matters. And there's a lot of people who the foreign policy piece, that matters. And if you can get those people, they may be more left, but they're like, you know what? No, I'm gonna go with the foreign policy in this one. I'm gonna go there. So I do think this is the right move. It's the best you're gonna get. I think that's absolutely correct.
And a lot of social issues. At the end of the day, the president can talk a lot about all those things.
This is the second piece that we deal with this Libertarian Party. This is Libertarian. We go back and forth on social issues all the time. We do. But we tend to be pretty tight when it comes to economic issues. It's true. So Missy says, it's crazy. We should lean on libertarian heavy hitters to mention Larry. Even Massie mentioned Larry on Shannon Joy's show. Yes, absolutely. D says, red-haired Republican doesn't care. She don't care either. Robbins, I voted for Gary Johnson. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. I appreciate that. All right. Thank you for supporting Larry. We greatly appreciate. Oh, appreciate that. Yes.
Things, but he really doesn't have a lot of power. We do agree that we don't want Israel dictating our foreign policy. We don't want any more foreign wars. We don't want to have to run a massive empire all over the rest of the world.
Yeah, they all agree. Robin says, Larry, you're not a failure. Winning election doesn't define you. Your voice is lost. Your voice in this lost world is what defines you and draws us in. You're not wrong in that. The issue is twofold. One, but I don't have anywhere near the impact that a Tucker has, that a Cenk has. Not even close, right? Not even close. And if I want to be heard, I have to be able to move forward on this. It has to happen, right? Number one. And it isn't win the election. The issue is I raised $500,000 in 2018, got ballot access, and was able to build the Libertarian Party out. The next year, I was able to get 107 local victories, and people then expected that of me. It was the expectation that I had created. Larry can get in the ballot. Larry can get ballot access. Larry can build up the party. Larry can create victories. That was expectation. 2022, all of that went away. Couldn't get in the ballot, didn't get votes, party destroyed, no victories. It was an utter failure. Now, it doesn't say it defines me, but it did happen. I don't want to act like it didn't happen. It did. And people who love me, you're right, they still love me. But most people don't love me. They liked me for what I was able to achieve. And I can achieve that. Larry, who? I watched so many people who I thought actually cared, all of a sudden be like, I don't know, no, Larry, just did not. When I was winning, I had all the BFFs in the world. And then I lost and I didn't. I'm not like angry about it. I'm disappointed, not angry. It's how the world works. I get how I say it all the time. I don't have to like it. It is just simply true. So what do I have to do? I've got to gain the back again. It's why I'm trying again. It's why I'm back in court again. It's why I want to win again. Because if I get ballot access and I get the party back, then people go, oh, Larry can win again. We now care about him again and we'll listen to him again. And I know it sucks. It still is true. So that's why I keep going. That's why I keep fighting, Robin. I appreciate it. I do. I appreciate it. Yes. All righty. Gail says, I think Alex Jones would have you on. I would love being Alex Jones. If anybody knows him, please jump on board. I would love that. I would love that. Yes. Missy says, I will forever be salty because Weld cost Johnson the 5%. He did. Bill Weld cost him 5%. 100%. That's true. Bill Weld, at the end, for those of you who remember, endorsed Hillary Clinton the last month of the campaign because he also had TDS. So many people have allowed their Trump arrangements in to destroy them. He was one of them too. So many have. So, yes, absolutely.
And so we build a broad coalition that says we agree on these things. And then from there, when we go to make any kind of decisions that are going to affect the divisive issues, that it's going to be more of a open discussion. And we're going
to. Denny said, I was wondering when they were going to bring up the trans demons destroying the country. They didn't, to be very forward. They didn't. I want to be clear on this. I don't want to change how Tucker said it. He was not aggressively against trans at all. He just brought it up and was like, you know what? This is not what we should be worried about, blah, blah, blah. So he wasn't that bad. He wasn't positive, but he wasn't like openly negative. So there we go. I think that was something.
To keep the presidency, the executive branch, focused on ensuring that we have the space, because we're not involved in all these different foreign wars. We have the space and we have the resources back here in America so that we can sort out all those other domestic issues relatively down ballot, essentially. So those other issues would be handled in the House, would be handled in the Senate. They'd be handled at.
He's saying smart stuff. Superman says, LOL, Larry needs some photo controversy. Nothing but an audience in today's time like controversy. Annoying but true. Yeah, I guess I gotta. Yeah, but I don't want to get one that gets me in jail. But yes, you're not wrong. I mean, yeah, I don't know what I need to rob a bank or something. I don't know. Must be controversy. The problem is I'm a libertarian, so like any like scandal, I'd be like, why do you care? I remember this is I was being interviewed. Was 2022 or 2018? I forgot. And some guy's like, yeah, Larry, we can't wait for you to scandal. You know, when you got I think it was 2022 because it was talking about how Cuomo was grabbing butts or whatever he was. He's like, you know, and you're, you know, with some woman and blah, blah, blah. And I said, you mean like some sex worker or something? He's like, yeah, you can be with that. I said, I'm a libertarian. I don't care. If they catch me with like a sex worker, like, yeah, I tried to get two that night, but the other one was busy. What are you going to do? That's the end. I wouldn't care. As long as it is two things, I keep saying, consenting and adults, there's no scandal. As long as they are consenting and adults, nothing wrong with grabbing butts if the butt wants to be grabbed. That's all I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with grabbing butts if the butt wants to be grabbed. If it's consenting and it's an adult, what do I care? So yes, that's the problem. So yeah. All righty. Let's see if I can go down here. And we'll click some more here. There we go.
The state level. Therefore, if you built this very, very simple platform, but a broad coalition, people could vote top ticket, you know, for the whatever it is, the independent party that wants to keep us out of the foreign wars and stop AIPAC from calling all the shots. But then down ticket, yeah, if abortions are number one issue as a Republican or as a Democrat, as a pro-life or as pro-choice, then that could affect how they're going to vote in the House or the Senate.
Yes.
I would even
he's actually thinking
say
this.
like
Brilliant.
Your educated voter is going to realize that abortion in particular is probably more of a state issue at the end of the day. But I think if we can just articulate what the president can truly control in a unilateral fashion and where we agree and we focus on that, because at the end of the day, I think every American right now who's been active politically, they should realize that when you're talking about the presidency.
Do you hear how good he's speaking about this? No ums and ers. He's thought through. He's actually answering the questions. This is how independent people can win. He didn't do what the left or right would do. If it's the right, they just go, well, you know, Mom Danny's a communist, you're a communist, DSA communist. All they say. He didn't say that. On the left, well, Trump is a fascist. He's bombing little kids. That's all they say. He's not saying that. He's actually answering questions and speaking with, here's how we can fix this. Here's an issue we'll have. This is how we can actually make impact as third parties. Don't just yell the other guy. It doesn't work in an independent world. It works when you're a Democrat or Republican. Totally works. Left-right paradigm. That's why they do it, because it works. If you're on the left-leaning show and they ask you a question, just yell Trump bad, Orange man bad. And they go, yay, we love you, give you money, vote for you. Perfect. If you're in a right-leaning show, yell brown man bad. Oh, yeah, Mom Donnie's evil. Yeah, but it's fine. Totally works. Independent does not work. Fails every time. Phil, thank you $2. 2022 was still lockdowns. LPNY didn't fight lockdown. Yes. Some did, but the party as itself just kind of sat back. You're right. You're right. It was fear. Larry, vandalized flock cameras like Sonny Colero. I'm not sure I'm going to go do that now. Not sure I'm going to go do that. You guys get me in trouble. I'm going to wind up getting him go to jail.
There is no policy but foreign policy. There's a lot of domestic things Obama wanted to do that those of us on the right were like, oh, he can't do that. It's going to be the end of the world. But then when he got into office, he was too busy overthrowing Syria and Libya and expanding the war in Afghanistan to really get any of that accomplished. Same thing with
True. Brana says, I have to once again thank you all for making me an honorary Sharpie. Oh, you folks have curbed my apathy towards the human race. I'm truly grateful. There are some good ones out there. See that? There's some good ones. Not that many, but there's some.
President Trump and this administration. There's a lot of things that MAGA and the right was really passionate about on the domestic end. They're not getting a lot of those things. What they are getting is another war in the Middle East.
Yes.
So at the end of the day,
now here's the best part. He's not a and Tucker didn't do it. I'm going to be very clear. Tucker, when he did his thing, he openly insulted Trump. He didn't necessarily use his words. He didn't say Trump did. He openly insulted Trump. He has crossed the Rubicon. He is at war with the Trump-loving part of the Republican Party. He's at war with them. He has crossed Rubicon. He is at war with them. So is Kent. So is MTG. So is Massie. They are in open rebellion. This is not a bad thing. Trump should have held on to all of this. This is Trump's fault. You can be mad at me all you want. It's true. Trump should have kept his coalition together. I said it how many times? For a year, I was saying that. And he was off doing other stupid shit, and he's lost his coalition. Now he's watched his own people break up into civil war. And he was the leader. He should have kept this civil war under wraps. Now, to be fair, Democrats did the same thing. This is because Schumer and Democrats were also incompetent. They said, well, Trump's going to screw it up. Remember, they said this. Him and Carvel. And now Carvel's all mad now. How dare you, DMA, all this stuff. Right? This is the problem. He said, he meaning Carvel and Schumer said, don't worry, it's going to screw up. So the DSA said, oh, great, you're going to ignore everybody? We'll organize and take over. And now they're doing it. There's a civil war in the Democratic Party because of the same incompetent leadership. Both the leaderships thought, I don't have to care about it. I can ignore it. Well, the country's collapsing. The empire is failing. People are suffering. If you don't take care of them, they will revolt. And both parties have revolts right now. They're both in civil war. And the worst part is, at least Democrats saw it. The Republicans were living in utter, and Republicans are still, to this day, they are still living in a fantasy world. There's not a civil war. Yes, there is. I told you this a long time ago, and the Republicans ignored me yet again. They were in civil war 6 months ago. I saw the rebellion burning then, and they did nothing. And now you're in an all-out civil war. It is embarrassing. It is freaking embarrassing.
We sort that out. All these other issues that, MSNBC and Fox News want us yelling at each other about actually don't matter.
So don't I say all the time? Yes. D says, is Larry breaking down a Tucker announcement Thursday? Yes, tomorrow I'll be doing that. Tomorrow I'll be doing Tucker tomorrow.
So there is one domestic issue that would matter a lot. And even if the president couldn't do something about it directly, he certainly could put an enormous amount of attention on it. How about getting money out of politics?
There we go. All right, let me grab this last piece if I could. And this, of course, Joe does a great job of this. He's a great guy in the media. He's doing a very good job of it. This is now the right. This is the right now talking about. I did the left. That was TYT. This is the right, how they're dealing with this.
I do want to ask you about what's happening on Team Red, because it was one of those things everybody was like, what's that? On the internet, MTG put out a picture of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Joe Kent, Tucker, and who's the other one? Oh, Thomas Massie, meeting at Tucker's home. And clearly they were discussing what to do about Republican politics and whether there should be a new party. And we know that now because Joe Kent went on Piers Morgan, among other places like the Young Turks, and said the following, SOT 21.
Things are in the initial phases right now, but there is a growing consensus on, I think, both the right and the left of people who are sick and tired of the Republican Party. They're sick and tired of the Democrat Party. They want us out of these foolish wars that we're just sitting here talking about right now. Most Americans have no idea what we're talking about. They don't know about Gaza. They don't know about the Straits of
Most don't know.
They just know that billions of their taxpayer dollars, their blood, their treasure, their sons and their daughters continue to get sent overseas. Our best and brightest get killed. Our taxpayer dollars get spent over there.
Well, they know something's wrong, don't know why, they want change, and they don't know how to get it. He's 100% correct what he's saying. He is 100% correct. Yes. D says the Sharpe Way Thursday and Friday, Saturday's Rumble. That's true. Guys, don't forget. Members only show is 2 weeks from now. Well, about a week and a half from now. Friday, August 18th. That's members only show. Rumble only this Saturday, 7 p.m. Rumble only. It's me and Lunatic together. So please do that if you want to. And tomorrow I will be breaking down the Tucker announcement. Yes, I will be.
Things continue to decay here in America. And so what we're trying to do is just build a coalition of people who say we're finally going to put America.
A coalition. What's the name of my party? Oh, right, the Coalition Party.
We're not going to focus on the next foreign war. We're not going to listen to foreign lobbies like like the Israelis.
No, he keeps talking about one thing. No, foreign policy, foreign policy, foreign policy. The America First policy party, foreign policy is the issue. This has the best chance
possible.
We're
going to focus on the issues that matter here to the American people.
Just to be clear, though, before we close things, could this involve establishing a new party?
Look, it certainly could. I mean, if you talk to most Americans out there, they're sick of the Republican Party. They're sick of the Democrat Party. They do want something that actually represents their interests.
Absolutely.
It absolutely could involve a new party. A party called America First is
the America First Party. Watch how this guy responds. This is how most Republican leadership is responding.
Reportedly the consideration. And he also said that they all urged Tucker to run as the candidate. And on top of that, when asked by Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, what would this mean for J.D. Vance? He basically said, we like him, but he's too tainted. He supported
That happened, actually. He did kind of throw J.D. Vance under the bus. He did.
The Iran war. And no. So I'm very interested in what you think this would mean. Like, what would it mean for the Republican Party?
Well, Tucker's as likely to run for president as I am to move to India and start my cricket career.
Immediately dismissing. If the Republican Party is cooked, if they keep this up, the leadership is just cooked to keep this up. The amount of cope they keep coming up with, the amount of just absolute just denial that they're in. They are literally, they didn't learn anything from Trump. Nothing. In 2016 and 2015, the Republicans literally ignored Trump. He's a crazy man. And he took over the whole party. Now, they knew they'd retake him over because that's what Republicans do. Democrats, Republicans are different. Democrats crush you Democrats choke you out in the crib. They don't let you get anywhere. That's what they do. They choke you out in the crib. The Republicans let you come on in. Then they stab you in the back and stuff you out. Different way they do it. But right now, what do Republicans do? They didn't learn anything. Trump taught them how it works. He taught them. And they went, no, because they thought they'd get rid of him. Didn't get rid of him now? You can't get rid of the guy if he doesn't join your party. See, Democrats felt okay because when the AOCs came into the party, the Democrats snuffed them out. Only AOCs left. The rest all got snuffed out, and AOC sold out. So they were like, fine, we got rid of it. It's fine, whatever. Now that DSA, oh, they didn't see that coming. They all have so much hubris, and this guy's exactly the same. RFK Jr. showed you how independence can work. He taught you that in 2024, but you do not want to learn your lesson because you think you're special. You're not.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
Disagree.
I just don't think he might do it as a lark, but as a credible campaign. No. I don't.
As credible, because you know what Mamdani was when he ran? Credible. Shut up. Do you know what Trump was in 2016? Credible. Shut up. Credible means nothing. As I told you, the age of the statesman is over. This is the age of the celebrity. You don't have to be credible. You have to be a celebrity. Mamdani's proof of this. Obama's proof of this. Trump is proof of this. They're all showing you what happens. And this guy, they can't you tell. This guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I don't believe the support's there for it.
I got to tell you, I disagree. I haven't talked to him directly about it, I believe Tucker's so disgusted and the neocons and what's happened within the Republican Party that for the first time.
See, like, what's wrong with neocons? People hate neocons.
He actually would consider it.
I just don't see a practical base of support.
See, it's a practical base of support. Same garbage they all say. What he means is, let me translate for you. I don't think they get past all of the absolute garbage rules, regulations, and stuff that we put together to ensure that no third party can survive. That's what he really means. There is absolutely a base of support. 45% of the electorate. There's more base support than Democrats, Republicans. The system is set up. If you can break the system, you fix it.
There's tens of millions of people who like that point of view of that group, but it's not enough to overcome.
It's only 45% electorate. Shut up. What an absolute liar. Just what a liar. God, Mark Halpern,
the obstacles to a path to a presidency.
Okay, I didn't say that. Oh, no. I didn't say they're going to win the presidency next time. Nope, I never said that. Now, I explained ways you could. What I said was impact and a real third party. That's real.
Within the Republican Party is starting a third party. I've spent a lot of time on this, and starting a third party is nearly impossible in our system.
Thank you. Now, at least you actually said the truth. You had to self-report, of course. Yes. Phil says Megan needs to eat something. I think she likes being thin. I agree. I think she likes being thin. And I think one of the reasons is there are people who still think she's hot. So, yeah, I think she likes that. So I think it's on purpose.
It takes a lot of stuff that group doesn't have sitting around Tucker's house.
Look at that group sitting around Tucker's house, dismissive. They just dismiss. Keep dismissing. I have seen this story before. They dismissed me in 2018, and they came back and crushed me. They dismissed AOC. They came back and crushed her too. So maybe you'll come back and crush him. I mean, they took over Trump. He had built a coalition. They got rid of that. Neocons got rid of that coalition.
Chatting in flannel.
Point out that.
Do you see that? Chatting in flannel. Do you see how dismissive it is? When they get insulted, they literally become Democrats. They just become Democrats. So, Laura, how are you, my dear? I missed you, Laura. Best wishes, praying for success. Thank you. I appreciate that. Garrett's back. Now more than ever is it time for independents and third parties to change things around. All there's enough seats to control real reform. Yes, you don't have to win the presidency. I hope they do. Not required. I hope they do. Not required.
He's making an announcement about it live on his YouTube feed tonight at 6 p.m. So we'll learn more. But what would it do, Mark? Because let's say that is 10 to 20 million votes. That
it's more than that. It's more like 90 million, but that's okay. So yes. Brona says, I agree. Megan needs a bit more meat in the bones for my taste. I happen to like women with a little bit of meat in the bones too. I'm kind of with you on that one. But she's pretty into Adam's Apple Detective. Well, even if Adam's Apple was detective, wouldn't mean she wouldn't be cute. There's lots of cute. There's lots of cute women who have Adam's apples. They used to be cute. So yes. Robbins says, Phil, I was a toddler when Eisenhower was still president, but I remember seeing him on a black and white TV. I had a black and white TV too. Then he says, it's so curious when I see people talking about creating a third party as if the LP doesn't exist. The problem with the LP is that the most important thing in Libertarian Party, the most important thing is not winning. It's virtue signaling. If they can get past that, we're good. That's number one. Number two, here's the other part. And this happened with RFK. And what happened with these that don't talk to me. Here's how RFK Jr. could have gotten the Libertarian nomination. There was a pathway, and I will explain what the pathway was. And I told them this, and they ignored me. What they do is they go, doesn't matter. Someone like RFK can get them ballot access. Someone like RFK can get them the legitimacy. If they gave a shit about legitimacy, they'd be Republicans or Democrats. If they cared about power, they'd be Republicans or Democrats. the Libertarians or Greens, if you're a third party, you don't care about power. If you cared about power, you'd be one of the two major parties. And the consultants who they keep picking, which I tell them to start picking, think that the Libertarians or the Greens or the Constitution Party are just mini Democrats, Republicans. They're not. They're not. Why didn't Cornel West get the Green Party nomination? Because the Greens are also ideologues. If they weren't, they'd be Democrats. That's the reason. So could you get the Libertarian nomination? You could, but you can't do the way they'll do it. They'll go, it's Thomas Massie or it's whatever. You guys should be lucky that we showed up. Libertarians will go, no, bye. They won't care. How do you get it? You get it by showing the people in the Libertarian Party respect. I know that sounds crazy. Some people may not want to do that, but that's how you do it. You show them some respect and you're honest with them. I'm not joking. Was it possible for RFK Jr. to get the Libertarian Party nomination? It was. If he had started a year or two earlier, sent people to every convention at the state level saying, hey, I want the nomination, and been transparent and honest and said, hey, I'm looking for a transaction. Just said it. I'm looking for a transaction. I'm not really a libertarian. I have some libertarian views. True. Here are my libertarian views. Others I'm not. I want to get in the ballot. Here's what I guarantee you. If you give me your nomination, I will get you 5%. It's a transaction. I'm not going to pretend to be libertarian. I'm not going to say I'm libertarian. I just want it so you get ballot access. I want ballot access, and I'll give you guys 5%. That'll happen. And you know what? I'll take a libertarian as a VP so you can set yourselves up for 2028. If he had done that years earlier and just said it, he probably could have got enough libertarians to go, you know what? It's not a bad deal. He probably could have made that happen. It's not a bad deal. We'll take the deal. He's not libertarian. He's not even pretending. He's giving respect. We get to have a libertarian VP who we set up for 2028. You know what? Fine. There was a chance. Without that, there was no chance. Libertarians are going to be worried only about virtue signaling. That's all that matters. And he didn't want to virtue signal enough. So could anyone else get it? Yes, they could. Now, Massie is the only exception to that rule. Massie's already been libertarian. Massie is still libertarian. He virtue signals by default. His Christmas card is a virtue signal. So he's fine with libertarians. He'll get it. He'll still have to go through the process, but he'll get it. Others are going to have to play that game. And they might get a no. Massie will get it. Enough people will literally come back to the Libertarian Party for Massie that he will stock the convention and he will win. That will happen, I guarantee it. Because he's Massie. Other people, you have to make a transaction and they get us to go, all right, fine. And you won't get a sum. Some will still say absolutely not, but you'll get enough. Remember, in the Libertarian Party, how we do it is we don't have a primary. We have a convention. At the end of the convention, you need 50% plus one to vote for that person. If you were honest with respect to a transaction, you could get that number. You could do it. Some would still go, no, he, whatever, won't yell taxation's theft or whatever is the virtue signal of the day. So I hope that explains why they act that way. So, yes.
You know, people who are very anti the Iran war and just the neocon, hawkish nature of the Republican Party, even after 20 years of war.
Yep. Phil says some junk in the trunk. I'm not mad at junk in the trunk. I'm not mad at it.
I mean, that actually could be a problem, right? If the Republican Party, no party can afford to lose that many voters in a general election.
Yeah. Getting ballot access is really difficult.
Yeah, see? Now we say the truth. There's no base. Yes, there is. There's a basis. You've set up a system to where no one can do it. That's the system. HVAC says, if RFK Jr. saw the LP nomination back in December 2023, he might have been the Libertarian nominee. Yes. Yes. He could have. Yes. He says, breathe, Larry. I know. LP stuff drives me crazy. And the mistakes they constantly make drive me crazy. Yes.
Determining a process by which you select your nominee is really difficult. So if magically they could be on the general election ballot And
magically, he says, the fact that you know that and you don't give a shit shows what a piece of garbage you are as a human being. You know that the left-right paradigm is tearing our nation apart. You know it. You're happy about it. You laugh at it. When the empire burns and they come for you, you'll know why. You will have deserved it.
The debates, yeah, that'd be doom for the Republican Party. Doom. I mean, unequivocal.
Well, they
doom.
can get in the.
Thank you. If they get in debates to doom, that's what I've been saying forever. He admits that after she pushes him, he has to admit the quiet part out loud. If they get in debates, they're finished. True. Because all they do is yell other guy bad. That's all they do. This is Democrats and Republicans. All they do is yell other guy bad. Well, when you have some ideas, it doesn't work. Robin says, virtue signaling has ended many friendships for me. I don't do it, and I find it ridiculous when others do it. Yeah. Warren says, until I found this show, I never really noticed the virtue signaling from libertarians, except from within the party itself. I learned that they really just are virtue signaling morons for the most part. It's true. Apart from you, Larry. Oh, thank you. Yes. I like that. Laura says, you're so smart. Love you. Oh, thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Yes, I do appreciate that. Yes. All right. That's it right there. I'm a big picture libertarian. I would like more of that. Yes. I would like more of that. HVX is a Mosh Massie or Massie Mosh. I would love that. I would love that. That would be amazing.
The debates.
No.
They can get in the debate. I mean, why not? The commission on president.
He says no. He just says no. No. Why? He knows that they changed the rules so you can't be in a debate. He knows that. Yes.
Presidential debates no longer runs the thing.
Right.
Trump put an end to that.
Right. And the Republican nominee would no sooner step on the debate stage than they would eat a bag of tacks.
So he understands how shitty his candidates are. And is like, yeah, what are you gonna do? Yeah, what are you gonna do?
They're just not gonna let them. They're just not going to let him in the debates. If the commission wouldn't let him in the debates unless they met some threshold, and if the commission's not in doing it, and we don't really know if the commission's doing it or not, they've had some bad cycles.
For those who don't know what debates are about one thing and one thing only: ad revenue. I'm not joking. If they could get ad revenue, they'll have a debate. So all that matters is if the person's popular. That's it. That's all that will matter. If the person's popular, then that's how it'll work. So if could you imagine if you could have a, I don't know, Tucker Carlson debate with, I don't know, who's going to run Gavin Newsom and JD Vance. I don't know whoever's going to run, whatever. I'm making that up. If they thought people would watch that, they would set the debate up. Because who sets the debates up? The actual stations. If they can get tons of ad revenue, that's why money matters. Why do, you might know this, you might say the mainstream media, those people, they hate third parties, whatever. They don't hate third parties at all. They just know that ad revenue comes heavily from Democrats, Republicans. And if all those PACs and such that buy up all the ads go, don't you dare take a libertarian ad. You do that, we will cut our ad budget by 50% on your station. Any station that takes a libertarian ad, I'm not joking, they just take a libertarian ad, we're going to cut in half. They did it to me this year. The Republicans told their consultants, if you work for Larry Sharpe, we will never hire you again. I wish I was joking. They told businesses, if you put a Larry Sharpe sign up, we won't come to your business. I wish I was joking. That literally happened. Yes. So they will do that. So CNN, whatever. CNN, how many hundreds of millions of dollars do they get in ads from Democrats, Republicans? They would just go, we'll cut it in half. What would it take? This is why Joe Kent and the rest have to raise $1 billion. Remember I said $2 billion? So that you can match the ad revenue that they would lose by putting on the shows. That's the point. That's why I have to go social media. You can't go on CNN and Fox. They get $100 million, $200 million, $300 million a year on ads from Democrats, Republicans. Unless you can match that lost ad revenue, they're never going to have you on any TV show. That's how they blackmail them. That's how they push them. That's what it's about. That's why the money matters. A lot of you don't know that. They'll just go. You can't put them on. You put them on, we'll cut our ad revenues by half. Or never put them on ever. Yes, that's how it works. So you got to be able to replace the ad revenue. So then I raise $1 billion fictitiously, and I go to Fox News or CNN and go, hey, put me on. They go, we can't put you on. The Republican, the RNC will cut all our ads. How much they pay? $200 million a year? I'll match it. I'll do $250. What? Yeah, I'll do $250. Damn, you on. That's how it works. I wish they cared about policy or whatever. They don't give a shit about that. Ad revenue. That's how it works. I'll match the ad revenue. I'll double it. Damn, you're on. How many shows you want? Done deal, done deal, done deal.
Here, but they may come back. But if they don't, no Republican presidential nominee is going to agree to debate Tucker. They're just not. In addition,
well, what happens if it's Tucker and Democrat? Then what? Bronner says, I'm not mad at Jungle Trump. I'm not. I like Jungle Trump. I like it. I like a little
I'll just say regarding Tucker, whatever other variables there are, if J.D. Vance is the Republican nominee, Tucker's not going to stop him. So
Tucker's not going to stop J.D. Vance. Chrissy says, candidates need to focus on grassroots volunteers, not celebrity support. Grassroots volunteers do the footwork for candidates more than any single multiple celebrities can. However, yes, but I got to add two things. Number one, I have to add, which is you're right. Local candidates matter, but legitimacy is gained for local by having someone run at the top of the ticket, even though that person may not win. But having someone there does gain legitimacy. Second, the celebrities can create semi-cults of personality to get people excited, like RFK Jr., like Donald Trump, like Mamdani. These people can motivate people. So yes, and I want to add that piece. So yes. All righty. I grabbed that piece. Okay, I think we're good there. All right. Missy's asking about taking a free quiz. That's a good idea. Do you know where you actually stand? What actually matters? You can find out. You absolutely can if you head over to the Advocates for Self-Government. She's correct. Head on over there. Click the link that is in my description. Go to that link in my description. And when you go there, take this political quiz. Larry, I've taken it. Take it again. Once you take it again, once you are done, then once you're done taking it, share it. Share it out with people. It takes just a couple of seconds. It's a minute. Look, done. This is it. The whole thing. I just finished it. Done. See? I just finished it. Take it. Take the test. Once you're done, share it. Why? If you share it, other people will come here. When other people come to the Advocates for Self-Government, they will see that there are other ways of doing things, other ways of looking at government, other ways of having communities that are not based upon coercion, that are not based upon violence or force, but instead that are based upon respect. The Advocates for Self-Government is all about that. They are a sponsor of the show. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Susan says, libertarians can't hold a candle to lefty Dems when it comes to virtue signaling. It's just that the Dems have been around longer, so they have legacy power. You're not wrong. The left is really good at virtue. You're right. It's true. Then I think is libertarians, then Republicans. Republicans do it too, but not as much. They also do it, not as much. Libertarians are great at it. Absolutely. Denny says it's almost as if what's not about ad revenue. Oh, yeah, got it. Okay, yeah. Everything's about cash. I wish it wasn't. Phil says, debate lights off. Massie comes in like Undertaker. Oh, I like that. That's a good one. Yeah. That'd be good. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I would imagine that to be kind of cool. All right. Let's see here. D says, events got canceled because people got calls from people not to host Larry. True. They couldn't host me. Yes. Literally, they would call, Republicans would call, this is Republicans, and say, don't host Larry Sharpe. Yes. They canceled events. She's right. She was there. She knows. Yes. They went out of their way to do this. So that's why you keep going. That's why we have to keep going. It is very hard. It is insanely hard. So yes. All righty, guys, I'm going to ask you if I could one more time, click the button known as like. I hope you guys like what I'm talking about. I hope it makes sense. I hope you like the inside baseball that I'm able to give you. I hope you see it the same way I do. If you do, click that like button. Make sure you share this or repost this someplace. It really does matter. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. I ask it because the more I grow, the more people will see me as valid, the more people will hear this. I need your help in doing this. I cannot do it by myself. I need your help. Assist me. The mission that we talked about, go on, all of you. I'm asking you to do this, a personal favor. Go on to MTG's, Marjorie Taylor Greene's team. Go on to her social media. Go on to Joe Kent's social media. Go on to Tucker Carlson's social media. Go on to Thomas Massie's social media, wherever you're on. TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, doesn't matter. Put in, if you want ballot access, you got to talk to Larry Sharpe. If you want an independent party, you got to talk to Larry Sharpe. Please tag me in all of them. Twitter, doesn't matter. Do it like every day this week. This is the time. Right now. This is the time. Please do it. Tag them. It does matter. They're paying attention now. If we don't get this now, I don't know when. Spoil the show if you can. Of course, Linktree/The Sharpe Way. Always good if you can. And of course, please comment after the live. Why do I ask that of you? Again, so we can get past Mr. Rhythm. Algorithm. I want to get past him if we can at all. Please do that if you can. What am I asking you? All right. Do you think this time a third party can actually work? Do you think this time a third party can actually work? Now that we have 4 people who've been through this, much more heavy hitters, Tucker, Greene, Massie, Kent. Now, do you think that a third party can actually make impact, survive and make impact? Not necessarily win the presidency, but make impact and survive. If you think so, please comment after the live. I'll be on tomorrow to talk about Tucker's piece and the AMA on Friday. I will see you all very soon.